right, students, Sensei Drinker is here with a very special lesson for you today. And it's actually a very special happy hour because normally when I do these things, it's just me and like one other guest. But damn, there's like a mountain of people out there who want to talk about Cobra Kai. And I thought, why the hell not just bring them all in? So I've got a special episode here for you today. We're going to be joined tonight by Sensei Cobra. Hello, sir.
What's going
Cobra
on, everybody?
Kai.
Cobra Kai never dies. If you don't agree with that, you sit when you pee. That is a quote from the great Johnny Lawrence. God, I love this show. I can't wait to talk about it. So thank you, Drinker, for having me on. Sensei Drinker for having me on. I'm really excited about this, man.
Pleasure to have you on, man.
It's nice to talk about something we like. You know, it doesn't happen a lot, so we need to take advantage of these opportunities.
We really do, yeah. This is why I love doing these happy hours, because yeah, occasionally I can just take a break from complaining about stuff and just enjoy things.
Yes,
and we've also got Sensei Tom from Midnight's Edge. Hello, sir.
How is everybody?
What's up?
Hi, man. It's good to have you on.
Doing the best I can. Doing the best thing. I love Cobra Kai, so I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. We need to get your name changed to Sensei Tom at some point.
I'll do that.
All right, cool, man. And last of all, we've got Chuck, who's Discount Stingray for the evening. Chuck is one of my patrons, absolute top lad, and he is one of the biggest fans of Cobra Kai I think I've ever met. Like every time I've done a stream, there's been at least 1 or 2 super chats from Chuck talking about it, and it's a pleasure to have him on tonight, man. How are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
To the 51st fucking annual all-man winner, Hawk.
Yeah.
Dude, his arc was so good. It was so
that
good.
was the best part when he gets up there and he goes like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the guy who's going to win the whole fucking thing." And he's like that.
Yes. It's great as well because like I was just waiting for a bit where Hawk was going to rip his gi off and you would see the eagle tattoo on his back or the hawk tattoo on his back and hear the sure enough it happens halfway through the fight, like when you know when Robbie takes his off and he's just like fuck it, just rips his off as well. It's like Hawk's back, baby.
I loved it.
Yeah,
My path with this show has been so funny because I remember back when the first season was is on YouTube Red, you know, and this was back when I was complaining a lot about Last Jedi and Star Wars, and people were messaging me and they're like, if you really hated Star Wars, man, check out Cobra Kai, man. They do it right. And I'm like looking into it. I'm like, YouTube Red with a bunch of washed up actors that I didn't even know were still alive. Like, well, this is destined to fail miserably. Like, what is this? And I watched that first episode and I was hooked. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm the audience, and you're actually telling me what the characters are up to 30 years later that I care about first. And you are subverting my expectations a little bit because I kind of don't like Daniel. Why don't I like Daniel? Why do I like Johnny now? And the rest has been history, and here we are. And it's a fantastic series, man. And season 4, I've seen it twice now. And I didn't think anything was going to equal season 1, but I think they're pretty damn close. Season 1 and season 4 are very equal to me. They're fantastic. Both of them are.
Like you say, from such humble beginnings, just a YouTube show that I guess wasn't done on a huge budget or anything like that. I went into it with no expectations. It was almost like just morbid curiosity. And just like you, right from that first episode, I was laughing my ass off. I thought Johnny was fucking fantastic. You know, there was just that brilliant sense of irreverent humor that was just going through it right from that first episode.
I was
and it just got me. What's that, man?
I said I was really worried going in because I was a huge fan growing up. I mean, I still got toys. I still got all the LP soundtracks and all that business and even the books and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh boy, this sounds like a bad joke. I'm like, because like they had the video out there, is Daniel really the bully? Which I thought that was funny and interesting, and they had the whole bit on How I Met Your Mother and stuff. I'm like, are they really going to turn Karate Kid into a joke? I'm like, are they really going to mess this up? And I was scared up until that first episode, and I was there premiere night on YouTube Red, and I'm like, fingers crossed. And I started watching it. Next thing I know, 5 hours later, I just watched the whole first season. It was like, I mean, I didn't cry, but like that, you know, that swelling of emotion that comes over a fan, like, yes, somebody finally got something right, especially after the stuff we had been dealing with up to that point, which, I mean, that was still early on with the Star Wars and you know, all that kind of business. Yeah, but we had still started feeling a lot of that stuff. So between Star Trek and all that stuff I was watching at that point, it was like, talk about a breath of fresh air after you're drowning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it the same for you, Chuck? I mean, how did you first discover this show?
Through your Drinker Recommends.
Oh, really? Holy shit.
Because I remember it was like 2019, and I was just started like watching your videos, of course, with Game of Thrones. God damn that last season. And I remember you just needed like a palate cleansing after watching that god-awful movie Midsummer that you deemed was the worst movie of 2019.
I still get shit for that even to this day.
Yes. But yes, I remember saw it, liked it. Of course, you mentioned Hawk, calling him a legend. And I remember one Labor Day weekend, watched the first season on YouTube, hooked, decided to subscribe to YouTube Red so I could watch the second season, hooked, and that's when all the super chats happened. So yeah. Maybe not like quote unquote like get in tears because I enjoyed Karate Kid. Like I wasn't like a huge fan, but it was just amazing how you see all these characters, you give them a backstory, you give them life, and they just give so much respect to it, especially with all the nostalgia moments. No things ever like say thrown in, like the bonsai tree, how Daniel was able to use that for his car business as a reward to like show people, I don't know, like humbleness, humility, or whatnot. Or even when they are making fun or like going like too on the nose with which I forgot the name of Johnny's friend. I think it's not Bobby, but the one who says, "Get him a body bag, Johnny." And
I know
they literally put him in a goddamn body bag.
Yeah. I mean, that was like, obviously the actor himself was very ill apparently at the time, and he's since passed away, you know, very tragically. It was great that they were able to bring him in. And I think, you know, touching on the point that you made there, like the show just does a really good job of balancing like comedy, you know, making fun of itself a little bit and not taking too seriously. But then at the times when it needs to be dramatic and serious, it really does it. It pulls it off, and it shows that there's heart behind it as well. Like, I don't know how else to describe it except the writers and the actors just really seem to care for the story that they're telling and the characters that they're playing. And that's so rare nowadays. It's just great to see writers who really understand the material. You know, compare this to something like The Witcher, which we're dealing with now, which is just, like a total bastardization of the source material.
Well, you know, that's Josh Held, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg, which, I mean, they don't have the track record where you go, oh, those guys know what they're doing. Because, I mean, they're behind, like, Harold and Kumar and Hot Tub Time Machine. But, like, they're just big fans of Karate Kid, and they pushed for years to make this. And Hayden Schlossberg came out with an article last year that, you know, just basically broke down how to do these things, right? He's like, this is why Cobra Kai is a success. And he hit every point that we've been saying for the last few years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like even when I have issues, because I did have some issues in seasons 2 and 3, nothing major at all. But I felt like some of I'm like, is there any police in this entire world? Like, they're just fighting everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, this is insane. And then specifically in the season 3, I kept seeing a lot of like, there was some little things like I kept seeing guys and girls fighting, but no guy ever got like a clean shot on a girl, but the girl would beat the hell out of the guy. And I'm like, okay,
I thought of you the moment, Jeremy. So, I thought of you the very moment when they had that meeting.
Yes.
And like,
oh my God, I fucking love that moment.
Yes. And through that, like they're aware of the issues they had, and through writing and storytelling, they were able to fix those issues without it not feeling forced or anything. And I'm like, oh my God, they're actually understanding that they overstepped in a few areas here. And it's just kind of ridiculous. Also, like, you know, when they almost had the fight at the drive-in movie theater and it turned out to not. And I'm like, thank God. Because I kind of was like, please don't fight. Please don't fight out here and have all these
that was the only
for
time
like 30 minutes
this season. Yeah, it was when they had the fight at the party after the dance.
That was that was
felt a little forced. Yeah,
that was the one sort of low point for me of the season, when they're doing these stupid like moves where they're holding on to each other and spin kicking like their opponents and stuff, and it's just like a really badly choreographed dance. And I was watching that like, no, this looks like something out of a really goofy action movie.
Wouldn't Robbie be like worried about going to prison, for fuck's sake? I mean,
that was a bit a bit shitty. And the bit that worried me as well, and it turned out to be wrong on my part, so I'm glad I was wrong, but like when they brought in Kenny, I thought, oh, God, not another kid. Like, we don't need any more young characters in this show because there's so many of them already. It's starting to like dilute the story too much, and like you're not getting enough time with Johnny and Daniel. But then he has this great arc where he's like being bullied at school by Anthony, like Daniel's son. And his mates, and then he turns to Cobra Kai, and then he ends up actually becoming a bully himself and turns into a total asshole. So it sets him up for the next season. And for Robbie, who became like his mentor, he sees himself as a total failure at the end of the season because he didn't guide this kid, and the kid's just turned into like what he had become himself.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great. It all ties together with him, like, understanding his dad a little bit more and realizing, like, yeah, it's not an easy thing to be a mentor and a father figure to someone.
And I like that because they kind of ignored the other kid, like, the last two seasons. And I brought that up last season, too. And I love that when Johnny goes, oh, yeah. He's, like, practically acts like he forgot he had a kid. And he's like, you know, he comments on him losing all the weight and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of funny. But, yeah, at first I was kind of like, oh, no, don't go down this road, too. But the pain story it worked really well, especially when it was, you know, contrasting what was going on with the other guys at the same time.
Well, when we saw, and I know a lot of us like, and this is the sad reality of what we've seen for the past 5 or 6 years. But as soon as we saw Kenny introduced, we're like, what are they about to do here? Because of what Hollywood's been doing. Man, he was a great addition to the show. I loved his arc. I cared about it. I had sympathy for him. I'm pulling for him, and then in the end, he turns into the bully, and then it turns out to be Robbie. Then feels bad, and you're like, God, this is such good storytelling, and it's just so wonderfully intertwined into this world. And one of the great things about it too is obviously we started season 1 very humble beginnings, like you said, Drinker, low budget, YouTube Red. Now this is a must-see show on Netflix, and it's probably got a much bigger budget. There's a lot more, you know, discussion about it. It doesn't. The budget doesn't seem like it's changed a bit, though. The world still feels very original, very kind of just grassroots, that they haven't taken it to the next level.
It's shot a lot like a soap opera or one-camera comedy. That's why.
Yeah, it kind of is. And I just love the fact that, like, every so often it'll not break the fourth wall, but kind of reference how ridiculous it all is, that like a karate tournament is suddenly like deciding the fate of an entire city, you know?
Well, I explained it to
everyone in the valley, it does karate now. It's
well, I explained it to my folks. I'm like, it's kind of like a soap opera, but instead of kissing, they kick. You know, that's kind of what it is. And I say that with all love, you know, and not in any negative way, because it has all the same elements that work for a soap opera, right? It gets you engaged in the characters. It has storylines that continue on through. And sure, moments and times it gets a little ridiculous, but so was the Karate Kid, right? Like, and you know, I mean, that's what I love about this, because I've always been somebody who's always stood up for part 3. And when the way they brought Terry in, and his moment where he's like, you know, it was the 80s. I was hopped up on coke.
Okay.
Half a year trying to get revenge on a kid.
Yeah, it's like terrorizing a teenager for a karate tournament. What the hell is wrong with me?
Well, and the other thing we've got to mention here, and I believe that Terry Silver has elevated this show to another, you know, stratosphere, because it's hard for you, because obviously Kreese, you know, he carries a lot of, he has a powerful personality. He's got great screen presence, and Terry Silver walks into it. And as soon as he really kind of gets into the story, it's like, wow, he stands toe-to-toe with Kreese. In a lot of ways, he's a little more intimidating than Kreese. And he just elevated the hell out of this season. He was incredible. I don't know why. I can't remember his name off the top of my Griffith. Something Griffith. What's his name?
Griffith.
Yeah. I don't know why that guy hasn't been in more shows or films, because he is
he's a legit martial artist, isn't he? Yeah. Like, that dude can fight in real life.
They had a time where they were trying to make him the next Steven Seagal. And between Karate Kid 3 and because like when that movie came out, I mean, it got just trashed by all the critics, but like every critic went after him specifically, and only one critic gave him a decent review. And Gene Siskel said this movie sucks, and if Thomas Ian Griffith almost saved it. So like he's the only person who gave him a good review. And I kept saying, like, why is everybody giving him such a hard time? He's just playing a straight villain, right? Like, what is he supposed to do? He's having fun with it. He's not doing anything different than what Jim Carrey did 6 years later in Batman Forever. But everybody said, oh, he did a great job.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was at my gym the other day. Batman Forever.
Yeah, I know. That was a bad comparison, but I always loved Terry Silver, especially like how he got into Daniel's head, right? Like that's the whole thing. And
it was playing on some interesting ideas. The third one, just like rather than just straight up beating him, you can kind of destroy a person from the inside by teaching them all the wrong lessons, you know, under the guise of being this wise mentor. So it was all right, but yeah, like he was basically just playing a cardboard cutout, you know, cackling villain back in the third movie. And there wasn't much to him, but suddenly they bring him in here and they give him, you know, this great backstory in Vietnam with him and Kreese, like from season 3. That was a great series of flashbacks that really fleshed out Kreese as a character and really made you sympathize with him. And then when you bring in Terry Silver in this season, you know, initially I thought, oh crap, this guy's really aged. Like he's got gray hair now, you know, he's kind of hunched over, he was wearing the glasses and everything. He's eating tofu. Fucking he's just like living out in LA somewhere.
He's been cocked out
and
like a motherfucker.
yeah, but then as soon as he comes in and he's got his hair slicked back into the ponytail and he's in the gi and stuff, and he starts fighting again, like he's got that shit-eating grin on his face, he just transforms back into Terry Silver again, and it's like, yeah, it's game on. Yeah. And he does a great job. And again, they show the kind of relationship between him and Kreese developing over the course of the season, that, you know, he's almost been bullied by Kreese his whole life because he felt like he owed him. And then finally, they talk about the weakness that each other has.
Yes.
And then finally he comes out from under Kreese's shadow and turns against him. It's it's great stuff. It's like, you know, it's like the plot of a Star Wars movie, but it's that epic, like betrayals and alliances and stuff, but just played out on a really small scale in karate dojos. You know, that's what's great about this show. It knows how low level it is, but it doesn't care, and it's happy to do these big melodramatic plots, and I just fucking love it for that.
Well, it really pulled a lot of things from part 3 that I felt like they should have, and I was glad they did. Like, because people like just haven't seen it in so long, they kind of forget it. It's just a retread of the first film, and Terry Silver's over the top. It's like, no, if you actually watch the movie's about Daniel learning that his karate with Miyagi means more than just trophies, first and foremost. And secondly, he learns to face his own fear, because, you know, they even show that great scene. It's like, it's okay to lose to opponent. It's not okay to lose to fear, as Miyagi says. So like a lot of that stuff played into the season 2. And that's where Terry comes in, is he just basically is that thing for Daniel that he could never get over. And Mike is even another part of that too, where I'm surprised they haven't brought him in yet, but I'm sure they will.
They will bring him in season 5. That guy's coming back for sure.
That's going to shake Daniel to his core, because he never really got over that in a way. I mean, it was he had his little moment, but
he was Daniel's Ivan Drago.
yes.
Yeah. It's so nice to have something that this far into it, because I think everybody was worried about what was going to happen in this season. You know, because I feel like again, that first season, top tier, and then it's arguable on what you liked more, second season or third season. But I think a lot of people were worried about it. But man, they just continue to set a new standard. And now I'm going into season 5 far more hyped than I was for season 4. Not to say I wasn't hyped for season 4, but I'm going into 5 now, and I'm like, okay, this is a whole new ball game now. Whole new ball game, you know, and what they're going to do and what steps is going to happen with Kreese and Terry Silver. And it's so good, man.
I think if I had to pick my least favorite season, it'd probably be 2. For the reason that I think it focused so much on the younger characters. And I get that they needed to flesh them out a little bit. But the result was Daniel and Johnny didn't get that much screen time. Whereas when you get to season 3, that's when Daniel goes to Okinawa and meets with Chozen. and you know, does lots of interesting things there. There's more drama going on with Johnny. I felt like it really pulled it back because I was worried they were going to go down that road of just like it was going to get handed off to the teenagers. And there's times when all of their fucking relationship dramas and all of their like angst and stuff gets a little bit overpowering in season 2. And that's why, yeah, I'm glad they didn't go too far down that road. They pulled it back for season 3, focused more on
Can
the
I
local
just mention
characters.
something real quick? Did everybody like find it funny that Daniel's daughter Sam would just mix up between Miguel, then Robbie, then Miguel, then Robbie, just taking turns with both of them?
Teenage girl.
Sam's an asshole in this show. I'm
She's
kidding.
a
Typical
fucking
teenage
asshole.
woman.
I wanted Tori to kick her ass, honestly.
I haven't liked Sam for most of this series, although towards the end of 4, she's become a little more likable towards the end of 4. But I've really not liked her most of the series.
I think
really
that's
aggravated the hell out of me.
I've got to be
I
honest.
think
She's like the spoiled rich kid, isn't she? And she's kind of entitled, and she's tries to come across as like this goody two shoes.
Yep.
The actress who plays her can't fucking fight to save her life. Like she's one of the real weak points when it comes to the karate.
Well, as far as one of the older kids, she's one of the actual younger ones in real life. That might be why. But no, I agree with you. Like she's been kind of generic up until this season, I think. Like I agree with Jeremy in that sense. Like this season, they really kind of let her have some emotion to play with, and we get to see her be an actual person and not like this, you know, generic white girl from the valley, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they obviously put in all the work because I was talking about the fight in there. Like they put in a lot of work for that final fight with her and Tori to try and make it as convincing as they could. But you can see how much thought she has to put into all her moves. Like every time she does like a spinning kick or a punch or something like that, it's really slow and methodical because it's like I need to remember my moves. Yeah.
I will say ending this season on the fight with her and Tori, I felt was a mistake. It should have ended with Hawk and Robbie. I thought that was a little weird, but it didn't hurt anything really. I just felt like it would have been better to have that as the payoff. But the build up between Tori, and what's her? I just forgot her name now.
Sam.
Already said it.
Sam.
Sam. Yeah, that's how much I really don't care about this character. But but there is a long intertwined story with those two that I think is more. It has a bigger arc than the Robbie Hawk thing, even though there was something there too. So I get it. It just felt a little strange.
Yeah, the Robbie Hawk thing was kind of more recent, wasn't it? It was like that's when, like Robbie attacked him when she cut off his mohawk and all that.
Yeah.
It was great that they got that fight together though, because they are the two best fighters in the show. I think the two actors, like they are properly good. There was some decent moves going on with their fight. Yeah.
Well, and Hawk reminds me most physically of Johnny when he was younger. Like, so that's why I'm not surprised he kind of rose a bit higher in the ranks this year too. And he's always been a little scrappier fighter, but like he's just never gotten his time to shine, it seems like. But yeah, that was cool how he got his moment this season. And they kind of been leading up to it in the last few seasons too. But yeah, he's one of the better breakout characters of the new guys. Yeah.
I tell you, man, he's a character that could easily have fallen by the wayside. His arc in season 1, he was just this nerdy kid that was getting bullied. Suddenly he transforms himself overnight, and he's this like try-hard guy with the mohawk and everything. He's got himself a tattoo, and it'd be easy to just dismiss him as like, well, that's just all there is to him. He just wants to be a badass, but that's not really what he is. But they just take him on this whole arc where he starts to reconnect with Dimitri after fighting him like for most of a season, and then he's got like those two different sides of himself. Yeah, and then like they attack him, he loses all his confidence. He's like suddenly like really shy and reserved, but then he regains it again for his final fight. It's just like it's a great character arc for a guy who's just been in the background a lot of the time throughout this show. Like that's how much thought they put into the writing for every one of these characters. That's the difference there.
And that's the thing, like going into the season, if you would have told me Hawk would have arguably the most significant and important arc of the entire season, I would have been like, no, he wouldn't. And it's not to say he hasn't been great, but I wasn't expecting him to have probably the best arc of the entire season. I just wasn't expecting it. But once I got it, I'm like, hell yeah, and it's just, they just know how to tell a good story with these characters, and it goes back to the beginning. It may be an old argument, but it's a valid argument. If this is how the sequel trilogy of Star Wars would have been done,
right?
Start us out 30 years later, showing us where the characters are that we cared about. Where's Luke? Where's Han? Where's Leia? Give us the update on them. Show us what's going on. Establish those characters first. Put that first movie completely, entirely focused around them, but sprinkle in the new characters. And then into the second season or the second movie, then you start really blending more of the new characters in with the old characters. And then by that third movie, that's where that would belong to the new characters. But no, that's not how they, and Cobra Kai did that. They started out with the old characters and then slowly introduced us to the new characters. And then midway through that first season, not only do we care about Johnny and Daniel, but we also are starting to develop, relationships with all these other characters, because that's how it should be done. It's the template for how you reboot a franchise after 10, 20, 30 years. It's the
not only
template.
that, it showed you how a character can lose their way like Luke did, but at least give you it gave Daniel the chance to find that path back, right? Because when you start the show, Daniel's a dickhole. Like, he's a real dickhole. I mean, you get to see that other side of him, and he kind of realizes, I've lost my ways. What happened to me? Like that scene with when he goes to Miyagi's grave says everything we need to know about Daniel and where he's at in his life. And that's basically what we needed for Luke, was like for Luke to sit down and it was really that moment where R2 flashes up, the thing of Leia and says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. That should have been the moment where Luke had that, oh shit, what have I done to myself? And what have I done to my family, my friends? Like, that's the moment that Daniel had. And we needed that for Luke. And we never got that, and it would have been like, if, it makes no sense at all how you get to this point. And it's clear. You just pay attention. You know that these characters mean something to the original fans. And as long as you treat them with respect, you can do just about anything you want with them. Like, you can make them a bad guy. You can make them a good guy. You can do whatever you want, as long as they have a reason and you give them some kind of redemption arc or treat them with respect.
Absolutely. And look how much fan goodwill there is towards this show now. Like, it is higher than any probably show on TV right now, because people are just loving what they're doing. And it's really, it's a testament to how well they've written it and how much respect they've got for the originals, but how they're willing to move it forward and take it in new directions. And that is a tough balancing act, but they managed to do it brilliantly. And can I say as well, like, and I'm sure you guys have appreciated this as well, just how mercilessly this show destroys like woke culture.
Yes,
it's just,
of course. And Johnny is all of us. Johnny is all of us.
He really is. Johnny's the hero that we all need. Like, if
for
John ran for president right now, I would vote for him.
Like, to learn about feminism for nothing.
Yeah, it's when he brings in that girl, like, because he needs a girl basically to compete for his dojo. Yeah. Brings her in, and he's talking about how they're fair to like men and women. And she's like, what about gender and fluid, non-binary quadrisexuals? And he's like, he's pretty much just goes, oh, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was quiet.
I fucking love that moment.
I like the part before too, and it's just about gender
just straight up, like, shut the fuck up, fall into line, and do what I tell you.
Fluids are very important. You always got to stay hydrated. We stay hydrated at Cobra Kai.
Yeah. But, I say this jokingly though, but like, isn't it interesting? This show,
Ego Fang, sorry,
is it's almost like this old-fashioned way of portraying equality between men and women, where they don't need to pander to people, they don't need to try and elevate one group above another. There's badass men, there's badass women in this. They're able to fight. They compete against each other, but the show is smart enough to say, look, they can't fight each other on equal terms. We're going to have separate, like, divisions for them when it comes to the competition. And they don't. Oh, they never have to overshadow each other. They never have to, you never have to show the girls always being better at fighting or always being smarter or anything like that. The show doesn't need to do that. Right. It's smart enough to just say, hey, you can have strong male characters, you can have strong female characters, you can have weak male characters, and you can have weak female characters. It's a complete mix, which is reality. That's the world that we live in. And it's like, that just seems almost like an old-fashioned concept at this point in storytelling. You know, that's not how, say, Marvel does it. That's not how Star Wars does it. And it's just so refreshing to see. It's like how they used to do it in, you know, the older movies that we used to watch. You know, like when you had Ripley in Aliens. She wasn't a Marine. She wasn't a great soldier or anything, but she learned how to fight. She learned how to use the weapons. She wasn't as good as the others, but that didn't matter. She did what she was able to do in the movie, and that's what's so refreshing about the show. And it's such a rarity nowadays. I'm just hope that they keep that, and they don't get it. You know, they don't get taken over by the usual people who destroy shows like this.
Well, I think that this. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was going to say, actually, I think you were right to be worried last season. You were one of the people that was like, you know, I'm worried about this next season now that it's on Netflix with them wokeifying the shit out of it. And I was like, I thought of you specifically with that one scene with the tournament where they go into it, and there was like 3 or 4 other scenes where I'm like, are they thumbing woke culture in the eye this season? Like, seriously? And yeah, I'm glad to hear you guys were seeing the same stuff I was, because I'm like, am I just imagining this, or is this like really happening? Like, because like some of those scenes, I was just like, whoa, I can't believe they went there.
And that's the beauty of him. What was it? I think that was the first season at the tournament, the season finale, when that guy got up there and gave that speech about equality and representation. And then Johnny kind of leans over to Miguel. He's like, kick this pussy's ass. You know?
I love that moment.
And I will say this about Miguel, like, he was not really that great this season. And what I mean, though, is I don't mean he was bad. I think they're building him for something really cool in the next season. Like, I didn't get the Miguel I was expecting. I was very
Miguel was
much
weird.
Like, he was really weird this
Blue
season.
The actor looked weird, and I don't like
his hair was weird. His body, like, he looked like he put. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
He's
put on loads
up
of weight
for Blue Beetle. He's shooting. I think he was shooting Blue Beetle at the same time. He's going to be the new Blue Beetle. That's why.
Blue Beetle. Okay.
Yeah, for DC. Yeah.
Oh, really? Shit. I didn't. Okay, because
it was originally going to be HBO Max, and now it's going to be theatrical. Yeah, so I think he just started shooting that.
He did look weird for sure, but also just the story around him felt weird too. And I don't know if that played into it in terms of his physical condition or not. But they're clearly building that character for something really cool in the next season.
Well, now he's going to find his dad, isn't he? His real dad in Mexico. And I don't know if they're gonna. That's how they're going to bring in someone like Mike Barnes. Like, he's going to be his dad's.
I hope not.
It would be a bit goofy,
that's
but like
too on the nose. That'd be way too on the nose.
It just makes me think like his dad's going to be significant to the movie. Something like he's going to be a character that's got some kind of history in the series, because they wouldn't have built him up this much otherwise. But then it makes me think, well, who else is left apart from Mike Barnes? I don't know, man.
I don't think they'll do that, because they've been really good at not boxing themselves in. Because like a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be Terry Silver, who's either Tori or Miguel's father, and I'm like, nah, he's too old. Like, and then not only that, it's just like once you start doing that, you box in the universe, and a lot of people think Tori's mom might be Hilary Swank, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. Because first of all, if you make Miguel's dad somebody that we already know, it takes that. It takes that story thread away from, you know, Johnny being able to have somebody, because now we've learned that Miguel's dad doesn't even know that Miguel exists. So that even puts another spin on this whole thing too.
That's true.
And you know, so you know, that was one thing I was saying. Like, that gives Johnny the chance to rise to the occasion there. And same thing with Hilary Swank. I feel like they've already set her up too. So
sorry to laugh at you, Tom.
Oh, he's bulking up, man.
Next Barbie.
Oh, man.
Fucking love that boxer. Oh, yeah, I got something to say about Miguel real quick.
Okay.
I know you had a weird arc. Probably is due to, and I'll quote Johnny, your mom and I are hooking up.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Dude, that scene when
that was so funny.
So fucking awkward. It's like, what'd you do to my mom?
Well, especially considering Johnny was like building up, trying to tell him all this time, like cooked him that manly meal with Manwich, and you know, he was like, sit down and tell him, and like, and then it's just like, I'm boning your mom. Like,
or that awkward moment when it's the three of them, the mom, Johnny, and Miguel, and Miguel, the mom's wondering why Miguel's been so late, and Miguel says, oh yeah, I was just hanging out with Sam. And Johnny was like, okay, cool. He's just hanging out with Sam. Always use protection. Wait,
Yeah.
no. Oh, I'm sorry. Never use protection. What? No. Oh, like, let her decide.
Yeah. Dude has no fucking clue how to handle anything.
Well, that's the great beauty of this story is they allow Johnny to be a character, right? Like that's the problem with woke right there is you can't have a bad guy be bad. You can't have a lovable, dork like Johnny. Like Johnny is basically Archie Bunker, right? We know he's wrong most of the time, but we still love him because he's well-meaning, right? It's not like he has any like malice towards anybody. It's just he's uneducated, like so we just like we laugh along with him and we realize he doesn't get it, so that's why it's funny. It's not like he's meaning to be mean or he's trying to be mean or anything like that. He genuinely believes this shit. That's just the way it is. And that's the way Archie Bunker is too,
Yeah, and it's interesting the amount of times I find myself just cheering Johnny on when he makes some totally inappropriate comment, because it's just like, it's what we all just want to say to like assholes that we have to deal with in day-to-day life.
Yep.
Johnny just like has no filter. He just blurts out whatever's in his head, and it's great.
Beautiful.
I do actually have like a little compilation that I found of some of his greatest like lines.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god!
Let's listen right now.
Yeah. I won't put it on for too long because it's
send it to the internet.
I love that.
And hash browns, lots of hash browns.
I'm sorry, I don't think we have the rights to that song. No, I got it in my car.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Let me see if I can just find it here.
Why not? Same reason there aren't women in the army.
But always
doesn't
remember,
make sense.
The reason we learn karate is
to show the world that you're not a bunch of pansy-ass nerds. You're gonna show them that you're tough.
I appreciate you coming in, but there are no girls in Cobra Kai.
Why not?
Same reason there aren't women in the army. Doesn't make sense.
The Chinamen wanted to do their work.
I'm not sure this is the appropriate term to use for
China people, whatever. Welcome,
China people,
to Eagle Fang Karate.
Eagles don't have fangs.
Eagles don't have fangs.
What about this one?
Forrester? What, do I look like a lesbo?
And for that, I don't apologize. What is it?
Well, there's a girl at school.
She hot?
Yeah.
She's super smart, funny and cool.
Hot?
Yes, she's hot, super hot.
Nice.
Don't be late.
Taking the foot in a concert makes you ready for badass training.
Your legs are still pussies. Ready to stand.
That's the thing to say to a paralyzed man.
Guns N' Roses or something.
What's Guns N' Roses?
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. You got your ass kicked because you didn't have any
Look how
defense.
skinny Miguel is.
So I'm gonna
Jesus.
have the
I
best
know.
defense that you can know. And the best defense is more offense.
So good, dude.
I'll take that down before I get like sued.
Yeah,
or
I
anything.
heard that. Yeah.
But what a legend.
I love that when
Dude,
he's teaching Daniel this season and he's like, wait, isn't this a bunch of defensive fucking moves and shit? He's like, quiet. He's like,
Yeah. I love when he has his training montage and it's playing to Survivor. And he's just running down the street and he fucking fly kicks someone's mailbox. Just because he's so pissed off.
There's I guess there was a deleted scene before Daniel's training bit that I wish they would have left in, because the reason Daniel's kind of like looks like he's half sick is before that scene, Johnny makes him drink a bunch of raw eggs and a bunch of like 3 shots of whiskey or some shit like that. They cut it out.
Oh man, there's
Wow.
one scene. If I can, I'll see if I can look it up and find. I know I posted this on one of my social medias before. Give me a few minutes and see if I can find it. I know you guys will remember it. It's not Johnny, actually. It's from Crease, shockingly enough. So see if I can find it. But yeah, the show just has so many great one-liners.
Well,
man.
Crease is great because he's completely, he knows exactly how to manipulate the woke system, right? And that's what we've seen with the whole when he was up talking to the city council, and he's like council person and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and I'm a veteran, and he's using all the proper terminology, and he knows exactly what to say, when to say it, and how manipulative he is with that business. And it's beautiful how they use the language in this show.
And I think Hawk does that at one point, like in the school, when he's like back during the phase when he's being a total asshole, and like he uses it to get other people in trouble, and he's like, "Oh, she invaded my safe space, and I found that very triggering." And the principal's like, just saying to him, like, "Oh man, that must have been so hard for you. I'm so sorry."
Here we go, right here. I know you guys will remember this one. 9 seconds. So let's
see. Okay.
Here we go.
Everything froze on me.
Did it rise?
It
did for me. It was just my computer.
There's no audio coming through though.
Really? I selected audio.
Maybe it's not just me.
I selected audio. I don't know why it didn't go through.
While he's doing that, wasn't it awesome to see Stingray back again this year?
Yes,
it really was.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. All right, I got it now.
All right, cool. I'll try this again.
Yep. All right, here we go.
I think it's coming through your microphone. Oh, there we go.
That is such a great scene.
Jesus Christ.
That is the reaction everybody has. I love it, dude. God, I love this show so much. Jesus Christ.
I was going to ask you though as well, because the today's modern journalists have come out with another fantastic article talking about how we need to fix the females of Cobra Kai.
Oh no, really?
Oh, I saw this one.
So so is it Digital Spy that did this?
It was CBR.
Oh yeah, there was the original one. They keep right. So I'm gonna see if I can screen share just so you can see it.
Let me guess. One of the reasons is they don't have a female writer on the staff.
No, it's not quite that.
Which I'm sure they probably do, but not with showrunner anyway.
All right, see if that'll work.
Never going to be satisfied. They're never going to be satisfied.
Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yep.
So from CBR, Cobra Kai's female problems can be fixed with one major return. Season 4 of Netflix's Cobra Kai exacerbated the show's female problems, but this can be fixed with one major return. Can you guess what it is?
Hillary Swank.
Yeah. The thing is, right, I'm not entirely against bringing Hillary Swank back. I don't think they need to. I don't think the show has a problem with like the number of female characters in it. But yeah, let's see what they got to say here. Netflix's Cobra Kai is stuck to the essence of the original movies, with Daniel and Johnny trying to rid Los Angeles of the evil Cobra Kai dojo. The show just hasn't moved past the 80s rock, hasty dads, and toxic masculinity. Leaving people wondering if these characters really ever grew and if the women have a real place in this property. How do you arrive at that? After watching 4 seasons of this, how do you arrive at that conclusion?
Yeah, right.
This is someone that they are primarily looking for anything to be offended by in everything they watch. That's it.
I can name 5 of the women on the show right now who are actually very well done characters. So this person's full of shit.
And this is the thing: is Hillary Swank is a good actress. Utilizing her to bring her in simply to fill your agenda narrative is disrespectful to her. She's actually a really good actress. So if she came into the show, she'd be a compliment to the show. But instead, they just want her to come in to fill their social justice check marks. It's ridiculous.
Look at this bit here. This is none other than Hillary Swank's Julie Pierce from The Next Karate Kid, who trained under Miyagi, took out military goons, and added a much-needed feminist perspective to a series that felt way too male-oriented. I just want to fucking shoot myself. I'm just like Kreese in that moment right there. Jesus Christ.
I remember watching that movie. The only 2 moments I remember was some monk like protecting an insect and that shitty "You Gotta Be Bad" song. That's all I remember from that movie.
I'm going to be the outlier and say the movie ain't that horrible till the 3rd act. And actually, there's not that much in the movie that really is all that pro-feminist. In fact, part of the whole point of the movie is Is Miyagi trying to teach her how to be more of a girl?
Look at this, right? In season 4, the show tried to be woke. No, it fucking didn't.
No.
By incorporating a female championship, no, because they didn't want to have men beating the shit out of women. But the girls felt like pawns to the male teachers. All of the kids are pawns for their teachers. That's the fucking point. Johnny had Donna, an angry teen from the debate club. She was a bit iffy. Daniel had Sam, who was channeling her fury towards Tori while balancing her love triangle with Robbie and Miguel, while Kreese had Terry had Tori as their champion, riling her up so she could get back at the privileged. You know, that is such bullshit, like such a bullshit way of like assessing these characters, though. Like, yeah, the evil senseis try to manipulate them, but they all have their own grievances. They all have their own reasons for doing this stuff. It's not like they're being told what to do. These guys are just trying to channel what they already have.
This is
so
this is somebody literally just trying to invent a problem that is not there.
I agree.
And we covered that a little bit, you know, on Geeks and Gamers when we talked about it. But yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Cobra Kai, and I understand that have to qualify. Literally, not everyone loves the show. There's clearly a few people out there that aren't happy with it, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But generally speaking, this is one of the best received. Yeah, this is best. Yeah. This is one of the best received shows we've seen in a long, long time. And when media people see that, they don't like it. They don't like when people are universally happy about something. So their job is to create division where there is no division. And that's exactly what this is designed to do. And it's
because
ridiculous.
It's not Batwoman, that's why.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So
this is what I always fear when a show comes out of nowhere and becomes popular really quickly. It's like the mob will get their claws into it and say, well, you can't keep it like this because you have to appease us, otherwise we're going to make life difficult for you. So you need to include this and that and the other, and before you know it, everything that was good about it has been erased. And it's par for the course really nowadays, and I really feared it was going to happen to Cobra Kai. It's resisted it so far, but man, every season you're worried about it.
Yeah, it is, and I'll continue to be worried about it. We live in a world where you can't put your faith in the creative process moving forward. You have to go into everything like we used to 5 years ago, before, you know, all of that. Like I would go into film overly excited and overly enthusiastic, sometimes probably too enthusiastic, you know, and now I go into it just pessimistic and just, yeah, this is going to suck. And sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, for instance, like Dune. I went into Dune not really thinking it was going to be much of anything. It was my favorite movie of the year.
That was a good one, Bravo, Six. Yes, Bravo, Six.
Nice.
And I watch things like, I mean, like I know we've got Better Call Saul's coming out later this year, and I think that's one of the best shows on television, and it rivals Breaking Bad in a lot of ways. But I'm still going to be, you know, kind of like cautiously optimistic because I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to do? I don't think that Vince Gilligan's going to do anything to ruin that, but it's hard to have faith in anything in the entertainment industry moving forward. But Cobra Kai is continuing to, even when they make mistakes, they're fixing those mistakes in the next season. You got to respect that.
It is. How stoked are you for? Sorry.
How stoked are you for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Oh God!
It's pretty bad when the fan-made trailer was better than the one they put out.
Yeah. Well, this was based on that fan trailer, wasn't it? That was the idea that kicked all of this shit off.
I'm like, that fan-made trailer looked interesting. This looks like shit. The new one, the actual real thing we're getting. Like,
this just looks like some shitty generic crime drama. You know, that packaged into like. Awful. It's weird because it's like you're hearing the names like Will and Carlton and all that, but these characters look and talk and act nothing like the characters that were on Fresh Prince. You know, it's just like it's a completely different show that's just wearing the skin of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I have no idea why they're doing it or what they think they can accomplish with this. Like, there's plenty of like gritty, like dramatic shows out there that can do this stuff. Why'd you have to take something like fun and lighthearted like Fresh Prince and do this to it?
Based on that trailer alone, and again, we haven't seen the series, but if you base on that trailer alone, that is a classic example of someone taking a name, a brand, something that people connect with, and just completely abandoning everything that represented it and only want to capitalize off of that name, because that has nothing to do with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And that show has some actually, like the comedy, the original series, like obviously it's a comedy, it's a sitcom. It actually has some powerful, teachable moments that are really emotional, you know, and a lot of those have kind of went viral and everything. And
like when Will and Carlton get pulled over by the police, and like Carlton doesn't understand why, and it's like not till the end of the episode. Like that's good stuff.
Yeah, really. And then of course the stuff with Will and Uncle Phil and all that. I mean, it's just like, it's so good, man. And to take that and put it into this package that doesn't resemble anything that made the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air great is completely disrespectful to the entire creative process. Now, from what I understand, Will Smith's like an executive producer or whatever. Will Smith's like that dude is strange these days.
He's an executive producer on Cobra Kai as well.
I was about to say that. Yeah, he's executive producer on this. Just because he bought the rights, so he could do so he could do his own.
And an executive producer doesn't really, like, it doesn't mean what a lot of people think. Like, even like somebody like J.J. Abrams, even producer doesn't mean anything. J.J. Abrams will put his name on literally anything he can possibly get his name on. And a lot of that is just so they can run from the executive producer J.J. Abrams, or from executive producer Will Smith. You know, there's not a lot of guys in Hollywood that won't put their name on stuff. Nolan's one of the few people, I think, actually. What was that movie, Transcendence, with Johnny Depp? And I think Wally Pfister, who was Nolan's DP, I believe, did that movie, and they advertised Nolan as the executive producer. That movie was a disaster beyond belief. And since then, I haven't seen Nolan put his name on a lot of stuff. He's like, you guys aren't doing that to me anymore. But yeah, but that whole Fresh Prince thing, man, whew, I think we're going to have a lot. I can't wait for the drinker recommends or not recommends that one. And I can't wait for the Mauler's unbridled rage on that one.
Well, the fan-made trailer understood that, yeah, you could go at this from a little bit more serious angle, but it still had some of the levity in it. This looks just way too melodrama. I don't know what the fuck they did. But
it's just not funny.
No.
Well, well, take the original, right? It was just like, you know, Will got relocated out to LA because, you know, he got into a schoolyard fight, basically. Just something simple like that. And his mom wanted a better life for him. Okay, I get it. Now it's like he's been involved in some serious like crime stuff. He's almost like being sent out there for witness protection. There's like guys after him. There's like serious like gang violence shit going down.
Yeah, none of that stuff was in the fan trailer.
Yeah, but and that's what that's what pisses me off, because it's got nothing to connect it to the original show. It beyond the names of the characters, that's pretty much all you got. And it's just their excuse to tell a completely different story. In which case, just don't call it Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, because it's got nothing to do with that.
Yep. Well, but that's it. I mean, like, look at, we're talking about Cobra Kai right now, and imagine that they created Cobra Kai with just like completely different characters, but had the same names of the characters we knew, but it had nothing to do with karate. It had nothing to do with anything. It was I don't know, it was a Ocean's 11 type of movie or something like that. That's what they're doing with the Fresh Prince right now. And fans are just frustrated with this. And I guess it'll probably do very badly. They'll probably call everybody racist for not liking it. And then we'll continue on that cycle of nonsense.
And we won't get the Carlton dance either.
Nope.
Yeah.
At least they had that in the I think they even had that in the fan trailer. At least, like, that's what the fan trailer was just a bunch of scenes from the show, just done with a little bit more dramatic, you know, tone to them. I mean, there was still a little bit of levity in there and stuff like that, but it was like, to me, I thought, like, okay, if you're gonna go with that tone, I think I can watch that, because the show is loosely based on Will Smith's actual experience of, you know, being a kid from Philly, just kind of thrown into this, you know, world of, I'm a millionaire now because I'm a rap star, right? Like,
yep. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
That's okay. The Doge is kicking off. He's pissed off about Fresh Prince as well.
Fuck that shit.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah, maybe he's just watched Boba Fett. I don't know.
I didn't even watch it. I just saw how bad I just saw those images, and I still haven't seen it. But those Power Ranger bikes, holy crap!
I've just got done watching episode 3, and it's probably the most embarrassing spectacle I've seen since Luke drinking the ballsack titty milk from the alien in Last Jedi. It's diabolical, this show. It's just a farce. Boba Fett is now become like a fat, elderly, clueless old man who doesn't know where he is or what's going on. He makes literally the worst possible decisions in every situation and gets his ass kicked in pretty much every fight.
But hey, he's got a good dental plan.
He really does, yeah.
Now,
it was
so
Az who pointed that out. He's like got dentures in now. And it's like every scene you just see him like...
And this is the same guy that came into like Mandalorian and just did that kick-ass scene where he beat the shit out of everybody. And now he can't win a fight, right?
He can't win a fight. He was in a fight with a Wookiee in this one, who just like pulled him out of his weird like waterbed thing that he sleeps in, so that the show can do flashback sequences. Just starts throwing him around the room because like that's all that ever happens now. You just pick the guy up, throw him against something, then pick him up again, throw him to the other side of the room because it looks very visually impressive. And you know he's getting his ass beat, and then like the biker gang comes in, and a strong, diverse female character has to rescue him. And I kid you not, that's what happens every fucking time, man.
Wow.
When he gets ambushed by assassins in like the first episode, it's his sidekick who has to go off and chase them because he's too old and fat to do it himself, even though he's wearing a jetpack which allows him to fly. But he forgets about that.
They fly now? They fly now? They fly now?
Yeah.
They fly now. Which is funny because a lot of people are like, oh, it's broke, because I said the same thing in the first episode why he didn't use it. And then I haven't seen this newest one yet, but somebody pointed out that he does use it in this one. So I'm like, evidently it ain't broke. So
he uses it literally just to like land in a scene, not like a combat scene or anything, just like to get somewhere.
He just got a super chat that said, "Drinker, you essentially described Boba Fett as Joe Biden." I'm sorry, I had
to Let's go, Boba.
Oh shit!
Oh man! Honestly, I'll give Disney credit because I'm so black-pilled on Star Wars that I'm not watching. You didn't watch Bad Batch, haven't watched Boba Fett. When I saw those bikes, I was like, I need to watch this shit show. Like, I need to watch this. This seems like next level. Like, who made that decision? Who directed this episode? Was it Robert Rodriguez that directed this episode? I know.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Fucking Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
A good director.
Yeah. Who made that decision? Who made that decision? I don't know.
Well, that's what I don't get about this show so far. I didn't watch the newest one, but somebody sent me a picture of it was a little bit blurry and it didn't show the bottom of the bike. I didn't even realize it was Star Wars. I'm like, why is somebody sending me a picture of Josh Hartnett on a moped? Like,
yeah,
that's what it looked like in the picture. And then he's like, no, it's Boba Fett. And I'm like, oh, is it? I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's like those fucking Vespas that we used to get in the UK. It's like Quadrophenia all over again, man. Honestly, I don't know what it has to do with Star Wars. Weird stuff.
Oh man, it's so bad.
Well, and if the show would have been like a situation where, okay, this show was announced before the whole Gina Carano thing. If it had been after, I'd been like, okay, I can forgive them. They're trying to juggle right now. They're just padding some time to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do now that they have to fix this other stuff. But no, this was before that. This was pre-planned and put into The Mandalorian. Like, this is what you set up? Like, what is this? Like, Mandalorian was more Boba Fett than this. Like, you go watch that first episode of Boba Fett. In the first few minutes, he chops a guy in half, kills 2 or 3 other guys, and takes another guy for the bounty. Like that's what Boba Fett should be. What the hell is this?
It's so weird, like, because there's so many opportunities for him to just like fix everything and end the entire conflict, like with one blaster shot. Like the bad guys in this are a couple of, well, initially anyway, they're a couple of like Jabba the Hutts that get brought into him, and they keep trying to kill him. They send people out to kill him, and they approach him to talk with him, and they're just on this like big stretcher that like 20 guys are carrying across the desert to come and speak to him. And they're right there in front of him, and they're unprotected. Like, he could literally just shoot them right there and then and take out his enemies, and he doesn't do it. He never takes action. I don't get what this character is meant to be. Like, Boba Fett is supposed to be a ruthless bounty hunter. And if you get in his way, he will just straight up kill you without hesitation. This guy will do everything in his power to avoid shedding blood, and it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Well,
not.
I saw someone in the chat say that why does Jon Favreau get all this praise? What has he done to deserve all this praise? And honestly, I think it's a fair question. I mean, obviously, the guy is responsible for kind of getting the MCU off the ground with Iron Man. I think he fought for having Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man when Disney executives were a little leery about that. And that has turned out to be a monumental decision that kind of sent the MCU to the stratosphere it's at. I'm not sure how that would have played out if Robert Downey Jr. is not Iron Man. But Jon Favreau does get a lot of praise, and I've praised him here and there, but this is the guy that I hated the Jungle Book, and I hated the Lion King remake. Oh my God, I hated those films. Despised them. I thought they were lifeless pieces of garbage, especially the Lion King. But I think he did okay on The Mandalorian. I liked a lot of The Mandalorian, but it does seem like Jon Favreau probably gets more praise than he's deserved. But what do you guys think about that?
I always think it's funny when people compare this to The Mandalorian, and they're like, oh, man, it's no Mandalorian, that's for sure. And I keep thinking, like, Mandalorian wasn't even that fucking good. Like, it was just the most basic bitch storytelling you could ask for. Like, every episode was the most simplistic, 30 minutes of just time wasting garbage that you could come up with. It looked nice, and it was just simple, like, space western stuff. But there was nothing to it whatsoever. And to say, like, well, that's your benchmark for quality now? Damn, man.
Well, it was
like,
because we were starving. It was a cracker when we were starving. It's that old.
Favreau hit a home run with Iron Man, without a doubt. Iron Man 2, I don't think it's as bad as people make out, but I can see the problems with it.
His older stuff is good, like his older independent stuff, but like Zathura, like people like that, but it didn't do anything in the box office. And he made that Aliens and Cowboys movie with Harrison Ford that was garbage. So it's not like Favreau has like done, only great things. He's not impenetrable, or however you want to put it. But I mean, as far as a lot of this stuff goes, I blame a lot of it on Filoni, because Filoni is supposed to be his guy to keep him, in check as far as like, this is supposed to be in universe. This is not supposed to be in universe. Like a lot of the stuff people griped about last season with the Black Saber and stuff like that on Mandalorian. Like, I'm like, isn't that supposed to be Filoni's job to tell him that that's not consistent with what happened on Clone Wars? Like, because Favreau, that's what he's just doing the show. And I remember an interview where he said, he's like, yeah, Filoni's my guy. I go to him when I have questions, when I don't understand something. He's my encyclopedia or something like that. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, Filoni is supposed to be the Mr. Miyagi, and he's no Mr. Miyagi.
No, Mr. Miyagi. He's definitely a crease. He's
Chuck keeping us up on topic. I like it. Chuck keeping us on topic.
Man. We're drifting. We're drifting. Yeah, there we go.
Chuck,
Tom rocking that 1990s webcam there as well. Nice one.
That's why I'm not on. Yeah, it's a horrible webcam.
Chuck, do you have a channel?
Do I have a channel? No, I'm just some asshole.
The one guy that don't have a channel is the one keeping all of us on track. Respect that right there. I love it.
No, I'm a locksmith.
He is Stingray. He is our Stingray. So
that is, yeah.
Look how beefy. Like, I'm afraid to start a fight with him. I get my ass kicked.
This dude doesn't fuck around. I must say, like, I will take a moment just to praise Stingray for coming back. Like, damn, that was a character that I'd kind of forgotten about, and all of a sudden he's back, and he gets kind of it's definitely not a redemption arc, but Mike, they've put him into a much more serious role where he absolutely gets his ass beat by Silver, and I didn't even see where they were going to take that until you find him in the hospital bed. And then you realize, like, yeah, he's been blackmailed into framing Kreese for all of this.
Right. Do you want to be Cobra Kai
and stuff? Yeah. So he got what he wanted. He's Cobra Kai now.
Yeah, I mean, just him he was a pleasant surprise, and you know, and again, he's got a massive kind of piece to getting us bridging that gap from 4 to 5 now, you know, and I think he's going to be very important to it. So I was really happy. Shout out to Stingray. He's a badass, and that's the thing. They make these characters. They take these actors that you would just like, this person's not going to bring anything to the table. And then after a couple of episodes of good writing and good development, you're like, I'm all in on this character. I love this character. I need more of this character. You'd have never seen that guy and thought he would be an integral part. I'm not saying he's an integral part to the overall story, but when he's there, you're like entertained and you're like, I want to see more of this guy. It's a testament to the creators of the show.
I think I was sold on him when they had that house party and the cops show up and he's got 2 bottles taped to his hands so he can't open the door. He can't get out.
That was the best.
That was glorious.
I love the scene where they're fighting, or what was it? It was season 2 where it was like capture the flag, but with, you know, the bandanas.
Mm-hmm.
Miguel wins it all, and then just out of nowhere, Stingray just pops up and just puts in a fucking headlock. And that's when he gets his respect.
Yeah, yep. So good, man. So good.
Yeah.
I see people asking if Chuck is Odin. They're like, that's Odin if he doesn't eat pizza. That's so good.
Odin who lived.
All right. I'll take Odin.
I do. I was wondering if you guys have a little bit of time just for super chats. I know Jeremy, like you said, you had about an hour, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I'll hang about another 10 minutes. So if you want to run through some super chats, I'll hang. I'm always appreciative to be here with you, Drinker. So always happy for the invite.
Cool, man.
I got time. I got to get back to work, but no way I was gonna miss this.
Well, don't get fired on my account, man.
No. It's this is why I call myself Stingray or Discount Stingray. No. I'm a locksmith by trade. It's my family business, so my parents are my bosses.
Okay.
So, you know,
okay, you're good then. You're good.
Yeah,
you're
it's
good.
like, what are they gonna do? Fire me or ground me?
No, like there's customers standing out by the counter or anything like, where the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
All right, just give me a second. I'll bring up the super chat list then and see what we got
problem.
here.
Shout out to everybody here. Thank you guys for being here. Chat's been awesome. I've been reading all your comments. So
yeah, the atmosphere in chat has been great. It's just like that's what this show brings out in people, the best.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks to my mods as well for doing their awesome work, because they always work their asses off.
Yes.
So the Uber Geek, he said, love this show. Kreese is by far the best, but Sam, she's got to go. The most annoying privileged brats in season 1, and no, it's not because she looks like my ex. It's a coincidence, okay? I think, man, if she could just learn to fight, I would be so much happier with her. She just needs to put in some training. The Outcast Creative said, evening, gents. 2 really great British dramas are Anne and 4 Lives. Heavy going, but worth seeing. You'd also enjoy the Silent Sea Korean sci-fi series. Nice, fair play, man. Thank you. SCB Wellbeing said, I like how Johnny's strong female student tells him about her pronouns and he just tells her to shut the fuck up and fall in line. And LEC, by the way.
He said sensei and student are the only pronouns allowed in this dojo or something like that. It was so good.
And that was
such a good response.
That was one of the things where I was like, did they just, thumb Moke in the eyes when they allowed the one girl who's LGBTQ to be on the bad team? It's like, oh my gosh. Like that's a taboo right there. They just broke.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the trans community to come out on the rules with the whole separating the sexes in the competition too. I'm surprised they haven't lost their minds about that yet.
Yeah.
I did find the debating student kind of annoying. Like, she kind of comes out of nowhere, and I don't really know much about her, but she's got this total chip on her shoulder, and she just seems like kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that she ended up becoming the math whiz expert.
Yeah, and she's Asian.
Yeah,
of course she is.
Yeah, of course she is.
Johnny keeps like asking her, like, well, what do we need in order to win? She's having to work it all out in her head. SCB Wellbeing also said, season 5, Tatiana enters the tournament. Tatiana's got guns, man. She won't fuck around.
Yeah.
Frozen in the 80s said, hail Drinker and guests. What are your thoughts on season 5 and where would you like the story to go? Ooh, good question.
That's a good
one. Obviously with obviously with everything that we've seen with Kreese, I think that's going to be a huge part of it. And I wonder if Terry Silver is going to be worse than Kreese to make Daniel, Johnny, and Kreese come together. You know,
I could see Kreese joining one of their dojos. I could see him joining Eagle Fang.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting.
I think you guys
there's definitely unresolved stuff between him and Johnny.
Well, because I mean, Terry Silver's powerful, so he's got a ton of money. He's looking to mass produce, Cobra Kai dojos everywhere. I mean, the guy has a lot of potential. Now, it's a slippery slope because I don't want this to become like a nationwide thing now, or we're in New York, or we're in here. Like, I don't want to get into all that. They still need to keep it centralized to this small little world we have that feels like it's part of a bigger world. But
Cobra Kai's going to take over the goddamn world.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't need Cobra Kai to become Cobra from G.I. Joe. I really don't. Like, I don't need that to happen. And I feel like that's what could, like, with Terry Silver having all of this, power and money and influence. Like, please don't. I don't need a Terrordrome. I don't need all of that.
I would love a Terrordrome, man.
He can build it.
Oh man, I do got one thing. Like season 5, like that final image. I was excited at first for the season, but then confused. Chosen. Him coming back.
I thought they were going to bring him in this season.
What?
I'm surprised they didn't bring him in this season, to be honest with you. Okay. I mean, I guess I'll say what I think is going to happen. I don't know if they're going to have Kreese around much. I think he's going to be in jail or prison for at least the next season or so. I mean, he's an older guy. I mean, he's in his 80s, I think. So, like, and I think, see, that's the thing. And Terry is worse. Like, you guys are right on that part. Like, he's worse. And I feel like he's going to bring in Mike Barnes to help him out. And then we got Chosen to help Daniel learn some more offense. And Chosen's going to help bring, Johnny and Daniel together. But then when it's all said and done, I feel like they've already set up Hilary Swank in this universe. I was going to say this earlier when we were talking about her, but we got past it. But I think that she'll be in not this next season, but probably the 5th season. And it's going to be because if you remember her character in the movie, she already knew karate. Miyagi's whole thing was teaching her discipline, how to, not be angry all the time and channel her anger into positivity. And I think that's where she's going to come in with all these Cobra Kai / Eagle Fang kids who are going to need some more discipline in that sense. And they've already set her up in the universe, because in season 2, I think it was, when Daniel comes in and he builds that platform on the koi pond, and when they walk in, he goes, "It's been a long time since 2 students have been trained in this dojo." Well, who else would he be talking about? I mean, that because Miyagi only trained so many people. It wasn't something he did very often. So
yeah,
I think that's where it's going to go. So yeah,
here we go.
Chat really enjoyed me saying it doesn't need to go full G.I. Joe Cobra. They were like, "Oh yes, it does. We want to see Cobra. We want to see all."
I think
but when do they join the
Terrordrome? I think there's an argument for this to be made.
I would give my life savings to see Johnny Lawrence in the MCU, just like absolutely making fun of everyone around him.
I will say, if season 5 starts out with G.I. Joe style PSAs from Johnny and Daniel, with like some young kids are playing on the railroad tracks and they save them. They're like, "Thanks for saving me, Johnny," and he gives a G.I. Joe knowing half the battle PSA to him.
Yes.
Yeah. Dumbass kids, stop playing in the damn streets or the train tracks or something. That's what Johnny would say. I'd be all in on that. So
don't be stupid.
He would like save them from the trains and then like kick them in the face or something. It's like, that's for being a pussy.
That could have been a train instead of my foot. Remember that next time.
Yeah.
Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah. I want to see Anthony for season 5. I want to see him actually like do something. I want to see him start training and learning discipline and stuff, because they're obviously setting that up. He's going to fight Kenny.
Yeah.
And I guess they're going to work out their differences somehow. But yeah, I want to see him actually do something now. That poor actor has just been on a holding pattern for like 3 seasons now.
True.
Well, and it doesn't help.
I will say this with Kenny. I actually liked that you just saw him as a person. Not because of, this stuff. the skin color, like just a guy, which I liked a lot. On that note, remember when he was playing that RPG game? I forgot the name of it.
Oh, it's like Dungeon Master or something.
Yeah, something like that. I was just waiting for the moment that he would, like, die in the game, so then someone could go, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny."
Yeah. Here's the real question, though. When does Jack Murphy join Miyagi-Do?
Jack Murphy.
I think he's got other things going on.
Yeah. He needs to watch other things.
He would fit right. He would be good in Miyagi-Do. That's right up his alley. He always stops for yellow lights. He always does that. He probably sits when he pees. So
I should ask you guys a question, actually. I should have asked this right at the beginning. Like, if you had to pick a dojo, which one would you go for?
Right now, as it stands, I mean, it would have to be Eagle Fang, because I would have to be, I'd have to be under Johnny Lawrence. I can't do, because Cobra Kai, as much as Cobra Kai is cool as hell, that's the standard. I totally just Terry Silver is probably gonna end up killing me, or getting me killed. But I gotta be with Eagle Fang at this point, and Miyagi-Do is just too pussified for me. I can't deal with that shit. So
yeah.
Pussified or not, I'm gonna have to go with Miyagi-Do, because if anybody can teach you to kick ass with a kata, I mean, hey.
Shoot. Honestly,
drum.
I'd go with Cobra Kai just so I can hang with my buddy Stingray.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Jeremy on this one. Like, as cool as Cobra Kai is, like, yeah, Johnny Lawrence is the man. I'd want him as my sensei, so it'd have to be Eagle Fang for me. Even though I'm actually wearing a Cobra Kai t-shirt, but yeah. So it goes. I've got a couple more here. RRTNZ said, "Hail Noble Drunkler and guests. Bit of trivia: Chozen's dojo contained photos of real-life karate master Miyagi Chozen. Loved season 4, although Terry at the end. Cocaine's a hell of a drug." Cheers, mate.
Well, yeah, Miyagi's actually based on that person actually, and they kind of were hinting that Miyagi's karate is the original karate that was brought to Okinawa and all that stuff. So it has a history in the actual, in actuality. So, yeah, that's why I picked it, because there's some stuff that Daniel's going to have to teach Johnny, and so is Chozen going to have to teach Daniel and Johnny. So yeah, he knows the shit.
Yes.
Speaking
of Miyagi, Joe. Oh, Johnny Lawrence's line. Oh God, what was it? 400 years of oh shit. God damn it. Fuck it. I'm going to shut up now. I forgot the line.
If it comes back to you, let us know.
Yeah. Something about Daniel saying, fuck it. Shh, shut up.
It's sorry, man. That happens to us all the time. Like, you've got like, oh, I've got a killer line, and then it's just like the moment you come to speak, it deserts you.
Dude, Chuck, we all have our respective followings. We've been on YouTube a while. Chuck's the one guy that got us back on track on the Cobra Kai discussion here. Okay, he's earned it. So
exactly.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
Keeping it real with Chuck.
I know. Now I got to make a YouTube channel. Just
there you go. Keeping it real with Chuck.
Oh shit!
There you go. That's it.
Yes.
I got to write that down.
I'm a titled guy.
Jonathan Mulryan said, "Just saw Wrath of Man. God bless Scott Eastwood. He does try, but the lad can't act. He might have his dad's looks, but he's got none of his talent or charisma." I've not seen Wrath of Man. I don't know if any of you guys have. I liked him in The Outpost. Thought he was pretty decent in that.
I have not. I've not seen it.
Yeah.
No Be There. Is that what you're thinking about, Chuck?
Yes, that's what
No Be There. I saw the chat. I saw the
yeah.
chat saying it. I didn't even hear what you were asking, or what you were trying to remember. When I saw the chat saying that, I was like, "No Be There." That's probably what he's talking about. That's so damn funny. That was so damn funny.
Fucking brilliant.
That was a great scene, actually.
Yeah,
when he's fighting the ice hockey players.
Yeah. On side note, though, I just started watching Yellowstone. Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
I saw like 4 episodes of it, and I was like,
I love it. It takes a little while to kind of get going, but I'm in season 2 now. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, Kevin Costner as the lead in it kind of sells it, but yeah, it's really good. I highly recommend it. Now I'm only in season 2, so I don't know what happens in the last couple seasons, but yeah, Yellowstone's pretty damn good.
All right,
nice,
worth a watch.
Yeah,
that's
it's
hot,
really
I'll say
good.
That.
Yeah.
Bitch,
There's
hot.
a random fact for us as well. The Cayman wine bottle that Silver kicks in his wine cellar. It's a nod to Robert Cayman, the OG writer of Karate Kid. I never even spotted that. I hope that's true.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Here you go as well. They need to hire that one chick from G4 TV to insert more feminism in this show. There's a problem with sexism in gaming, don't you know?
Yeah. Hey, drinker, sorry, but yeah, I do gotta get going. So, but
Nice
No,
meeting
no
you,
problem
Chuck.
at
for
all,
having this
man.
opportunity, Jeremy,
Yep.
thank you for that. And
Yeah,
Tom,
man.
thank
Chuck's
you.
good. Yeah, good meeting you, buddy.
Yes, you and me too. Thank you for the title, Keeping It Real with Chuck.
How
There
you
you
going,
go.
bud?
Yeah.
The
Awesome.
legend that is
I'll-
Chuck, aka Stingray.
Yes. All right, I'll go away now.
All right, thanks, man.
That's good. Chuck's cool, man. He's good people. So
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. It's like I try when I can to bring in like subscribers or patrons or whatever, and it's just good. It's a good chance to talk to other people, you know. And yeah, the dude knows his stuff when it comes to Cobra Kai, so it's great stuff.
like, yeah.
And speaking of Robert Kamen, like, yeah, I mean, he's a guy who wrote the first 3 films and came up with the whole idea to begin with. And he based both Miyagi and Kreese on 2 different teachers that he had. Kreese, he said, was the one that Kreese is based on is actually based on 2, and one of which was even worse than what Kreese was. He was a finish them kind of guy. Like, he was one of those, when they would spar, he's like, one of them was not walking off the mat. Like, yeah.
Jesus, doesn't mess around. What's the next one here? Unhinged said the drinker and Cobra Kai gives me a a Cobra Kaiju in my jeans. Rob H just says Cobra Kai. Nice. He also said, howdy drinker and guess. I was a holdout, but the wife and I finally binged the entire show last week. Great show. Loved Hawk and Robbie's arcs. Hated Tori and Sam though. Dimitri was more likable.
I like Dimitri. Dimitri's pretty cool.
He grew on me.
Developed a lot.
He did me too.
I
Yeah,
didn't like him
at
to begin
first.
with. Like,
Yeah, I didn't either, but he definitely developed a lot.
you know, the ones that always make me laugh is like, you know, Daniel's son Anthony, how he's got a bunch of asshole friends who are wannabe bullies, and they start bullying Kenny. But these kids are like the most like weedy, pussy looking kids you're ever gonna see in a show like this. Like, they look like Wendell from The Simpsons. You know, that one kid that's always sick. You know, like they're like little skinny, pale. They've got like long curly hair and stuff. It's like that's not a bully. That's not what a bully looks like.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Those are the kids that get bullied.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Well, in the words of Liam Neeson, there's always a bigger fish. And in this case, like, it just shows like even, you know, kids who would normally get bullied turn around and bully smaller kids. And I think that's kind of what Payne's story is about in a way too. To where like being bullied has now in turn made him a bully, and probably worse of one than the ones that made him one.
I mean, it kind of makes an interesting point though, doesn't it? Because like no kid just starts out like an asshole and just wants to bully someone. It starts because of a reason.
Right.
You know, whether they got bullied or whether they've got some shitty home life that's messed them up as kids, whatever it is, there's always something that puts them down that path. And I guess the show is trying to demonstrate that. Like, Kenny starts out as a nice little kid. He's like, kind of geeky and he's into like, you know, cosplaying and stuff. And then he turns into this asshole bully because of what he's been through. So it's a pretty interesting point.
And I think that his name is Payne for a reason. Like, I don't think it's any coincidence that we have a character named Payne the same season Terry Silver comes in. And that's what Terry Silver was all about, was teaching pain. Like,
I need to go back and watch. I haven't seen Karate Kid 3 in forever.
I watched it. I've seen it a million times, but I watched it just before the season dropped, and I'm like, to me, this time there was a few things that stuck out even more, and I'm like, they definitely got a hit on this, and this, and they did. They hit every note, and I'm like, perfect. Like, they even got into the whole bit about, you know, Daniel bringing up how, you know, his karate meant more than just trophies, and how, you know, Miyagi told him one day he would make his own path when it came to karate, which, you know, him finally understanding was doing it your own way, doing your own karate, and not doing it exactly as Miyagi would all the time, and stuff like that. I mean, they hit on all that stuff, and the fear factor and all that business. I think that's really going to play into the next season. Like, really, like I said, my only real complaint was that stupid scene at the after party And I feel like this season might have been stretched into 2 because it almost feels like they knew since they were going to get another season that they took this story and put it over these next 2 seasons here. I could be wrong, but because their original idea, they said they had 5 seasons planned out, but they knew some threads and storylines they could go into if they had more too. But like they got like I think another 2 seasons out of Netflix, so I think that's why they might be kind of like not padding it out, but stretching it out, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Gotcha.
There's a great one next, actually, from Beep Bop Boop said, what's the fight you want to see most next season?
Terry Silver and Chosen.
I was actually going to say Terry Silver and Daniel just because of how terrified because he terrorized Daniel, you know, and so now like when he showed up, you know, the look on Daniel's face, like I really want to see that. So I kind of just want to see Terry Silver fight everybody because Terry Silver's just awesome, dude.
Yeah,
really awesome. He is awesome.
I do feel sorry for the actor because like he's clearly a big dude, and you can tell he's about 6 inches taller than everyone else. Because whenever he talks to anyone, he has to like bend over. Must be hell on his back.
What's funny is he's actually 4 months younger than Ralph Macchio in real life.
Yeah, it's so funny. He was like, because Ralph Macchio in Karate Kid 3 was still meant to be a teenager, and this dude was meant to be a Vietnam veteran. He's younger than him. Man, he's just got, I don't know, it must be good genes or something that makes you look that young.
That's what he said. Yeah, he's always said the Macchio gene is you take your age and shave off 6 years. He goes, I think he said, and in my case, you shave off 9 or something like that at one point. But
he can pass for a guy in his 40s easily.
Yeah, did you know his daughter was in this season? Most people missed her. Yeah, she played his cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The girl that was telling that got him and his wife set him down and was talking to him about their parental skills and kind of baited him into, you know, remember?
Was that his daughter?
Test? Yeah,
that's Ralph's real life daughter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
I never would have pegged that.
She's actually a pretty good little actress. I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, wow.
Yeah, she's fine. Yeah, fine for what she does. Michael Hansen said Stallone should pick up LaRusso to his crew of Expendables, another edition of deadbeat action heroes who can't act.
You know what? Actually, though, if they got Johnny Lawrence should be on there. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it says here Zabka for president.
Yes. Yeah. Like William Zabka, just bring Johnny Lawrence into WWE and make him the champion. WWE, great ratings. You know, I'll be back. I'll watch wrestling again. Just get Johnny Lawrence in there. It'd be great.
Get Biff Cannon and it's Battle of the Bullies. There you go.
That would be great.
And Johnny will kick Biff's ass.
The Ginger Menace gave me a $10 super sticker, so thanks, my friends. Forrest Friedman says, "Hail Drinker and friends, you guys are the best around, and nothing's ever going to keep you down."
I like that.
Awesome.
I like that quote.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and call it here. So Drinker, thanks for having me. Tom, good talking to you.
Yeah.
We were probably Star Wars Theory, who also has a Cobra Kai Theory channel. Me and him were actually going to get together on Geeks and Gamers and do something. We couldn't pin it down last week, so we may do something again. Drinker, Tom, you're invited if I can set it up. Man. You know, but you know, because he's got a big Cobra Kai channel too, and Cobra Kai is great though. It's bringing people together, gives us something to talk about. I get it. I know a lot of people are tired of hearing us bitch about everything. Trust me, we wish we had better things to talk about, but when we have them, we talked about Spider-Man because we all liked it. You know, now here we are talking about Cobra Kai because it's a fantastic series. So if you have not seen it, highly recommend it. And thanks guys for having me. Appreciate it. So
thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
Right. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, buddy. The link to Jeremy's channel, Geeks and Gamers, is in the description. So please, if you haven't subscribed to them already, then do so now because you'll not regret it. Jeremy does some epic rants. It's great to listen to.
And F&T will be very fun tomorrow. I think we'll talk about G4 a little bit.
Naturally.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
Yeah, Tom, like, obviously, I don't know how your availability is. I'm just going to be going through super chats.
I got a little bit
in. Okay. Yeah.
Unless you just want to run it solo, that's up to you. I'm more than happy to stick by or whatever you need.
You stay as long as you want, my friends. It's always good to have you on. There might be questions for you specifically, but
Sure.
yeah, like just stay as long as you like, and when your time's up, just let me know and we can call it. But yeah, I'll just go ahead.
Andre said I'm all yours, so.
Right. Taco God says you should watch and review Willy's Wonderland. It's a very unique movie. It's also got Nick Cage in it. It is a very unique movie. I think it's fucking fantastic. I watched that on Halloween when I was drunk as fuck with a bunch of mates, and we laughed our asses off throughout the movie. I just thought it was great fun. Yeah. But yeah, I recommend Willy's Wonderland. If you're really stoned or drunk, you'll have a blast with it. Conman Kershaw, how's it going, boys? My little brother's 18th birthday today. Happy birthday to your little brother. And I want to get him a big happy birthday from you fine gentlemen, if you don't mind. Well, there you go. Conman Kershaw's little brother, whose name hasn't been included here. Happy birthday, mate. Hope you're having a good one. Vidar said, anytime Johnny's on screen, it's my favorite show. It really is. His one-liners are fucking fantastic. You know what? I might play a couple more of them here just for a little bit of light relief. Hold on.
Kick that pansy bitch in the face.
Ooh, briefcase. What's inside?
Nothing. Found in the dumpster.
Nice touch.
Thanks. If you want to be a Cobra Kai, you can't act like a girl.
What do you mean? How do girls act?
Oh, don't give me that. You know, all emotional, loud, complaining, never letting you finish the sentence.
Well, I know a few guys who act just.
Nothing to fear except for fear itself.
You would not fucking get away with that. Man.
No.
So don't do that. Used to be
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Weird. I still hooked up with babes and all, but the point is, I wasn't always the badass sensei I am today. Kids from my dojo told me to get an apple. You sold me a lemon. Piece of shit won't even turn on.
First of all, it's Adele.
Stingray.
My question is that a real gopher that they got to do that, or is that like something they did with them?
Listen, guy, I don't know. I was partying with babes back then. Do you have the mirror glass or not? Stop whining like a little bitch and get out and finish your drills.
What did you do? Are you insane?
That's what he asked. Come on, shake a leg.
I can't.
That's what he's got, like a paralyzed man with a firecracker attached to his leg.
Oh,
you gotta love Johnny. Mighty Balzac said, Drinker, when will you review Highlander, or even better, Highlander 2? I've already reviewed Highlander. What do you want from me? There's a video for it
with you, wasn't it?
Well, I did a video specifically about the Highlander remake and why they don't need to do one. And yeah, I went into quite a lot of details about the original movie and why I liked it so much. So yeah, like that's already there. I've not reviewed Highlander 2 yet.
I think he just wants you to rip that apart. But that's like too easy. That's almost like picking on a special kid, right? Like we all know it's bad already. It's admitted it's bad. I mean, it's
yeah, it would be like I don't know, it'd be like picking on in what's it called, Battlefield Earth or something like that. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, we know it's shit.
Or Garbage Pail Kids, right? Like
yeah.
Easy
Anti-hero.
target.
Yeah, totally. Anti-hero said, big waste of time. I even learned feminism, Johnny Lawrence. Yeah.
I love that.
That is probably your biggest waste of time ever. Alex Perez said, I always find it hilarious how Terry Silver in part 3 says, dump the toxic waste in the ocean. I don't care. It's the most cliched villain line, but it's so freaking hilarious. You know what makes it even better? I think he's in a hot tub when he says it.
Yeah.
He's just like, he does business deals from his hot tub because, yeah, like, fuck it. I'm an evil businessman. Why not? Dump the waste.
Well, he lives in Xanadu, for fuck's sake. It's huge. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Much smaller living area in this one, but yeah, the first one, it was like, or third movie anyway, it was like, holy shit, guy has a castle.
Well, I mean, in this one, it's like this, like, kind of ultra modern, beachfront place,
right? Just
and they eat tofu and stuff. It's just like your typical Californian douchebag kind of like place to live. James Leggett, he said, Drinker, working my way through your old extra shots, great stuff. Here's a thank you. Also, where's my plushie? Thanks, man. Yeah, your plushies apparently they ship in February and they should arrive in March. So that like there's a slight delay between the campaign ending and then the plushies shipping. But yeah, March is when they should all be delivered. So you will get your plushie. Look, here's a sample of what it will be. There you go. Look, drink your plushie. Yeah.
I'm so pissed. I missed that by a day. I clicked on the thing to go buy one, and it was like, what?
Sorry, man. There'll be more.
It's just my sleep schedule, man.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine.
If I'd have been up a few hours earlier, I would have bought it.
Yeah. Sonny said, Kenny and Anthony were great. The rivals thing is too played out, though. It would be different if they became friends rather than fight over a girl. I mean, they're not really fighting over a girl. It's like bully versus bully in this one. And I think they probably will become friends ultimately. Like they'll put their differences aside.
Daniel and Johnny, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the whole Ross and Rachel thing. Once you get them together, the show's kind of lost its luster. And I feel like, yeah, it's kind of getting past its prime. They need to get them together, but they're still finding ways for them to have conflict, which it works.
Yeah, they're fundamental. Like with Daniel and Johnny, they're just fundamentally different guys with different philosophies on life. But I think what you see is like as time passes, they each learn a bit more about the other and start to see the benefits of the other guy's
absolutely
view of the world. And there was a real thing this season about the younger characters saying, maybe both of you guys have a point, but like I need to find my own way. And it's that classic generational thing of like each generation ultimately can take things from the one before them, but they have to find their own way and stand on their own 2 feet, I guess.
And a big part of it too with bringing Chosen is I think Daniel's realizing that the kids are right, and that Johnny and him have pretty much taught them all that those two really can at this point. And there's more that they need to learn as well as mentors.
Yeah, which is good. Like I guess that's what they were trying for with something like The Last Jedi, but like this one does it without totally demeaning them. It's like they're good at what they do, but like there's always more that a person can learn. You don't get to a certain age and then just stop. Gerald Armstrong said Samantha would be better with Johnny teaching her. I think you're kind of getting now, isn't it? Like she learned things from Eagle Fang and learned to be more aggressive. Lord Backtor said, after seasons 2 and 3, I was on the verge of not bothering to watch 4. After 4, I can't wait for 5. Now there you go, it's redeemed it. Personally, I really liked season 3. I wasn't so hot on 2, but it was still okay.
Yeah, so far this, to me personally, the stinker of the bunch, if there was one, and this is just not even calling it bad, like like the rest of the seasons are 10 out of 10. It's season 2 is like that 8 out of 10 season. Yeah, to me, like it just and the ending kind of went a little too far, in my opinion. At least this season, they're still having Miguel deal with that, though. Like that was my one issue with the 3rd season, was how Miguel overcame that so quickly. It was like, okay, was it really as serious as they were saying, or what's going on here? Because this, you would think it would take him more than just a couple of months to be able to rehabilitate from something like that.
Yeah. It's funny how they played with it in this season as well. Like he tries to do that twist and move, and like you think he's paralyzed himself again. And then like the very next episode, they're just like, oh yeah, you just pulled a muscle. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, like that was kind of a little bit of like, you got to kind of stick with it if you're going to do it. But
yeah. There you go. It'll be Karen Kai as soon as Hilary Swank's character is introduced.
I hope not, but
yeah, I like I said, I barely remember the next Karate Kid. But I think you know, if you do it the right way, if you bring her in just as an interesting sort of side character and like flesh her out, and see where she's at in life now, you could do something with her. For sure.
I mean, yeah, the movie is not great by any means, but I mean, she's an interesting character, and it was an interesting challenge for Miyagi, and I think that she could add to the mix. I mean, just not to, they'll find so far they've gone against my expectations, and I don't say subvert, because I like everything they've done, because they've done a lot of what I predicted needs to happen or would happen, but they do it in ways that I don't expect. So like, again, and they've managed to make every character count. Elizabeth Shue is another great example about how they didn't overuse her. They used her exactly how they had to use her. Then they got her out of the story. You know, it felt the same way with Chosen in them, but it almost felt like, oh no, there's still a little bit more to go with Chosen, and here we go. And it's like they know exactly how to do it. And I'm sure coming from a writer yourself, that from a writing standpoint, it's just brilliantly, you know, paced out, and the plot works well with it complements the story of the characters' arcs, and it just all seems to work real well. And it's a beautiful symphony, like Thomas Ian Griffith, you know, couldn't compose one better himself in the character of Terry Silver, it feels like.
I think, you know, what they always say, like the mantra with any kind of writing and any kind of entertainment product, is always leave the audience wanting more. And I think that's what they were able to do with something like Elizabeth Shue's character. She came in just for a little bit. You get like this little glimpse of what might have been with her and Johnny, and then she leaves, and that's fine. It's all you need. I didn't want her hanging around for season after season or anything like that.
Well, she served her purpose, and that's the beauty of the show. The show in general has that aspect to it. I mean, my buddy messaged me in the middle of the night when he's watching it. He's like, I hate this show. I'm like, why? What's wrong with it? He's like, how do you stop watching? Like, you could have worse problems, right? Like, yeah. So that's exactly it. Yeah.
I mean, it's how rare is it now to get a show that you are genuinely excited to watch the next episode, the next season, whatever it might be. Yeah. Bring in Chuck Norris, though. That's one.
It would be cool
fantastic
to have a cameo with him, even if it's just a thumbs up.
I would like to bring in the bloated carcass that is Steven Seagal, and like have him just be bored out of his mind, like lazily beat up someone and then
Terry Silver's brother or something.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
He's my lazy ass brother.
Yeah. Sonny said apparently the actress for Sam is learning Muay Thai boxing. I thought she improved from season 3. I mean, she's still very slow and very deliberate. She just needs to get a bit of quickness to her. It's just interesting to compare her fight with Tori versus the fight between Robbie and Hawk, where those guys are much more confident, much more fluid, much faster.
Well, you can tell like she hasn't had a lot of athletic training in her life. Like you can just tell compared to a lot of the other members of the cast. Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like if I was in a show like this, and particularly the way it's taken off, like it's not like it's just an overnight hit now. It's like season 4 we're on. I would be living in the gym and fight training as often as I could to look as best I could on screen, because man, like this is a big hit. Like this is like the thing that's going to launch their careers. Yeah, and you can tell that the actor that plays Robbie has clearly done that. Like he is built now compared to what he was in season 1. He's obviously bulked up a lot.
Yeah.
Precisely because he knows that's what a platform this show is. Like it's going to launch him. I guess he hopes it's going to launch his career.
Well, and he's one of the actors I felt that has gotten better over the last few seasons, because I can't think of the kid's name who plays Robbie offhand. Sorry, but I know me not remembering an actor for once. But like he in the first 2 seasons is like he just had Mr. Pouty Johnny Depp face through most of it, and then last season he got a little bit better, and then this season I feel like he really kind of he upped his game a little bit more.
Yeah, he definitely did. Yes, it's like he's ripped as fuck. Yeah, there's a definite reason why his gi came off. Like halfway through the fight with Hawk, just so he could take it off and like, yeah, I've been in the gym a lot to get in shape for this. I'm going to show it off, motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, and they took the DC money to get Miguel to bulk up, so there you go.
Yeah. Daishisho said, hail your glorious gathering of gentlemen. Cobra Kai is hands down one of the best series over the recent years. What I find surprising after the recent season is that Ralph Macchio is a year older than Thomas Griffith. Fun fact and warm Irish regard. Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's remarkable what good genes can do for you, man. Jake Boylan said, it feels like we're getting to the end of Miguel's story with Johnny. Do you guys think the writers need to wrap that up and focus on Johnny and Robbie more? I think it's a natural fit, really, that Robbie and Johnny ultimately need to reconnect.
Yeah.
Miguel is now heading off to find his real father, so I guess that's going to be a big thing. But I think Johnny's going after him, isn't he? Trying to stop him.
I think they're going to send Johnny on a little bit of a side quest. They're going to have Chosen and Daniel teaching the students for a while till Johnny gets back. Then I have a feeling at some point we're going to have some kind of time jump here, because they've stayed in the same year for the last 4 seasons here. So, you know, they got to get out of 2019.
I guess I never pay attention to it. Like, I never know, because is there not a year between karate tournaments? So there's at least a year that's passed from the first season to this one, presumably.
Well, yeah, because the first season ended. Yeah, the first season ended. It's basically we're on the same time frame as the first 3 movies, because the first season ended with the tournament, and then this season ended with the tournament, and that's kind of the same way the first 3 movies, where it all takes place over the span of a year, basically.
Yeah,
you know, or well, 2 years if you count the first movie, but like, yeah, it's like roughly 1.5 years, 2 years almost in time. And so, yeah, they got to jump at some point here, because like that's where I think they kind of made the joke with Daniel's kid, because I mean the kid's aged and he's you know, quite a bit. I mean, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll kind of stick in that time frame, because they kind of just established, oh, he lost weight and he's this age now, even though he was like 10 in the first season. But
yeah. There's a great one here. I'd love it if they had Chuck Norris hanging around Johnny's car and Johnny just tells him to get lost or he'll kick his ass, and that's it. That would be good, actually, if it's just a total like 30-second cameo. Yeah, Chris B said this show can be silly and sometimes not have the greatest acting, but I thought last scene with Johnny and Robbie was very well done by both actors. It really was. I thought, yeah, it was good. Quite an emotional scene, I guess, for both of them.
Yeah.
21 Palika, Hail Drinker, Jeremy, Chuck, and Tom. Love watching Cobra Kai when I'm Cobra High. Perfect. I love Ralph Macchio. Still earns money acting. He's a great guy. I think he is. Yeah, he's got a reputation as being a nice guy in Hollywood, doesn't he? Like,
yeah,
I mean, bad thing to say about him.
I mean, he got a bit of a reputation after part 3, but I feel like it was for the wrong reasons, and we touched upon it in our retrospective that nobody watched on Midnight's Edge, where because he didn't want to sign on for the 3rd movie, or he was either, you know, he just didn't want to do it, and they finally did it, but you know, he was supposedly difficult on the set and demanded a bunch of changes. But in retrospect, it was because A, the movie, the script wasn't ready. B, they ended up hiring an actress that was 16 years old to play his love interest. So he didn't
that's weird
like
when you're
that
30,
idea.
isn't it?
So yeah, and yeah, he's pushing 30, so there he demanded they change that and stuff like that. So like there was a lot that went into that, and you know, he got this reputation that he hated, you know, the Karate Kid and all that business, and then you come to find out that he named his kid Daniel after the character and all that stuff. It's really that he was just very protective of it. And they didn't even bother to ask him to cameo in the 4th film at all, or even the remake or anything like that. So, like, yeah, for the longest time, he had this reputation that he hated. And he's like, no, I love it. And it wasn't until these guys came to me with this idea. He's like, I've had other people come to me with ideas before about, you know, Daniel teaching one of his kids or another student, you know, but they never really kind of clicked with me. He's like, these guys had their shit together, though. They had a vision, they had an idea, and I found it interesting, and you know, it treated all the characters with respect, you know, all the stuff we've been talking about the whole show. So he's like, he knew the moment that he met these guys that this was what they were going to do, and he wanted it to be on Netflix to begin with as one of the producers of the show, but he's like, YouTube gave him the better offer to begin with, so that's what they went with. But now he's glad that they're on YouTube and it finally found the audience, and it is arguably one of the biggest shows out there right now. It's been #1 the last 2 weeks in a row, and we did the fuzzy math, and you're looking at an audience of over like 20-some million viewers, if not more than that. Like, I mean, almost everybody who has Netflix has almost watched this show at this point. Like, that's the crazy business. I mean, maybe not that many, but it's quite a few. Like,
it's great to see it being so successful. So, like, yeah, it gives me hope for like what we might see going forward. The Ginger Menace said, I like the first Karate Kid the best, but probably because I'm female, I like #2 with Daniel's girlfriend, Kamiko. But Cobra Kai has been awesome. Part 2, I think, has got some real merit to it.
Very
I like
overlooked,
the interpretation and stuff. I like, you know, you get more of Miyagi's backstory.
Yeah. Well, it is more of Miyagi's movie, because Daniel doesn't really have much of an arc in the second film. It's all Miyagi's arc more so. And, you know, Daniel's just kind of, it's kind of like how in the first film, Miyagi is the one showing Daniel the way and giving him guidance. In this film, it's Daniel giving him guidance through the death of his father and learning how to deal with that, because that beautiful scene where they're sitting on the side of the mountain there, and he's like, you know, I was there when my dad died, and the best thing I could do is just hold his hand and tell him I love him and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of gave Miyagi some peace, because that's exactly, you know, he was struggling with that, obviously, but it's like, you know, at least he's like, right, you know, I was there when he, you know, that was the one thing he wanted, was me to be there when he was leaving. And, you know, that was a very poignant scene. And you have all that business with, you know, the honor and all that kind of stuff. I thought the second film was great. I love the second film. To me, it's like Godfather and Godfather 2 in that respect. You almost can't have the one without the other. It's just, yeah.
RRTNZ said, "Hail esteemed imbiber and guests. As I said to Drinker last week, I've met guys like the sensei in this show, good and bad, who play out their melodramas through their dojo. Love this show. The only pronouns are sensei and student." Damn right. I need to put that on Twitter, actually. That's it. That's the only pronouns you need in life. Luke Sylvie Claire said, "Johnny might secretly be a savant. He saw the crane kick perform once and mastered it to the point of being able to teach it to Miguel, as well as being able to counter Daniel's pressure point technique almost instantly."
That was funny when he did it, when he was facing out sparring with Daniel.
I loved the double KO that they did as well when they fought each other.
Yeah, that was funny.
There we go. Joe Biden is Miguel's dad.
The better one is right up above that. Palpatine is Miguel's dad.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That's if J.J. Abrams took over the show, anyway.
Yeah, totally. What's the next one? James Fowler said, "The Critical Drinker, I noticed that you passed 1 million subs and wanted to congratulate you. Thank you. Here's for a beer on me. Oh yeah, cancel Jeremy." Thanks, man. Scott83, "Like a battered housewife, I tried giving Star Wars one more chance with Book of Boba Fett. After the last episode, I'm convinced there's no saving it." Yeah, you and me both, mate. The Power Rangers scooter chase killed it for me. R.I.P. Star Wars. Yeah, it's been a nice run, but time for it to die. No one even a friend of mine, right, who pretty much just doesn't like critically evaluate anything, just kind of enjoys it for what it is. He messaged me and just says, "Holy fucking shit, man. Like, Boba Fett, nobody involved in that show gives a shit anymore. Done with it." And that was pretty much his remarks on it. It's like, if he doesn't even like it, damn, there must be something seriously wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I've been one of the critics on it too, and I have not felt too much of the heat either. I mean, a few people have, but, you know, I know when some people were critical on Mandalorian, they just got, you know, bombarded. But outside of a few people on this one, I don't see too many people dealing with being, you know, like trying to stick up for it or anything.
Yeah. What's the next one? Sonny said, Johnny and Anthony LaRusso's interactions are surprisingly funny. I don't remember them talking to each other much. I think Johnny just
but
makes,
I can relate to
comments.
Them.
Yeah. Matt said, "The moment I saw this show was special was when they gave Kreese a compelling and sympathetic backstory that explained why he does what he does." Yeah, exactly. You take a pretty generic villain from the first movie, and you give him this this whole like tragic backstory about being a Vietnam vet and like having to fight his own officers and stuff. Like, that's awesome stuff. I love it. Sean DiStefano said, "Everything is gaslighting." Yeah. And I feel like G4 TV then. Lord Backtor says, "I know
I'm not as sexy as Jeremy, but no."
Yeah. I have to face this objectification every time I come on stream. In the chat. Everyone just talking about how they like to jerk off to me. For anyone watching this isn't me talking. This is G4 TV, by the way.
Oh God, I saw some of that. I'm just like, cringe.
What's the next one? Lord Backtor says, "I hate when these journals talk about viewers' opinion when they mean their own agenda." Yeah, pretty much always. Wazapalooza the Drunk said, "I love how that article doesn't mention how the women are kind of instigating a lot. The school fight that cost Miguel, the mother who got Tori fired, and Sam who can't pick a man." Yeah, it's interesting that actually. Like, they start the fights, so they don't finish them.
This whole thing is predicated on a woman.
Yeah, it was
It all
Ali back in
started
the
from
day, wasn't it?
Elizabeth Shue. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So I should stop wanking? I'm so confused. Never stop. um, fuck yeah. Oh, there was a great one about Boba Fett there. Where was it? Oh, it's
You
passed me
guys are
by.
doing great. You guys are flying though. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much like the worst chase scene in cinema history. The Book of Boba Fett, absolutely
Well, I
diabolical.
love the Twitter is like, oh, it's George Lucas is smiling. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? He directed American Graffiti, one of the movies, one of the best drag race scenes in history. Yeah, bullshit.
If George Lucas was dead, he'd be turning in his grave right now.
Yeah.
Ladin80 Gaming says, what do you guys think about Ozark? Now, I haven't seen Ozark. That's the dude that was in Arrested Development that's in it. Ah, fuck, can't never remember.
Heard a
his
lot
name.
of great things, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh, Teen Wolf 2 kid. I can't remember his name now either. Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah, I think I started watching the first episode, didn't quite get into it, but like I just didn't give it enough of my attention, I think. Sensei Sharkbait said Boba is saved by a woman again. Yeah, of course he fucking is. Yeah, that's the point I was making earlier. It's either his assistant, like his diverse assistant, or the diverse biker gang leader who has to save him.
I'm waiting for Khaleesi to show up yet too.
Yeah.
Amelia
This
Clarke,
guy is without a doubt the worst protagonist in any show I've seen in years. He is utterly incompetent, utterly stupid, utterly gullible. Yeah, just I don't know how this is meant to be Boba Fett. My Zeet Wizard said, Drinker, you essentially described Boba Fett as Joe Biden. Yeah, that was Jeremy brought that up earlier.
That's funny though. Well, that's my big issue with this show too, is like this is supposed to be literally like when they do the flashback, it's literally supposed to be days after Return of the Jedi, and it's like we're watching old man Boba Fett, but he's supposed to be like in his 30s. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's bizarre. They should have just recast. Boop Beep Bop said, saying the show doesn't have good female characters is insulting after how much good work was done with Tori this season. Yes, really was. I've really come to like that character. Didn't like her in previous seasons, but they've really humanized her and
well, as I
given
said
her
in
so
the
much more
beginning,
depth.
I think most of the female characters in the show are very well written, are very well rounded, are very diverse. Look at Daniel's wife. She's a very well written character. I mean, you can like or dislike the actress that Sam, that plays Sam, but I think they've done a great job with her overall as far as her story. And yeah, the girl playing Tori is clearly the standout. But yeah, no, I think there's tons of great female members of the cast, and I don't see how Hilary Swank is going to add anything to the mix as far as like the femininity factor. I think she's going to just have more to do with the story and teaching the kids, control and self-discipline.
No, that makes sense. Josh Lurch said the disappearing Gamorreans are becoming a problem. Oh, the Gamorrean guards, yeah, like they show up when the plot needs them to.
They're looking a little slender too.
Yeah. Anthony Sansom says, sounds like he should be in Still Game. Yeah, that's Boba Fett. Still Game is like a Scottish show for you, for your benefit, Tom. It's like
I was going to say, yeah, thanks.
Couple of old age pensioners who are just like your stereotypical old Scottish guys. They're just like grumpy and stuff. Like their name's Jack and Victor. There's some
kind of like Scottish grumpy old men almost.
Basically, yeah. There's some great scenes there. It's a good show actually. I think even Americans would appreciate it. Jake Boylan said, "Drinker, make a Let's Go Boba shirt and you'll be rich." Cheers, man. Keep up the good work. Let's go Boba.
And then have the little moped racers on it.
Yeah. It's when someone put it on Twitter and it was like that with the Jetsons logo on it. That's perfect. Andre Jones, why is the beer always gone? Who keeps drinking my beer? I'm going to grab another and figure this out. Cheers, guys. Cheers to you, man. Carrier, a Raccoon City story, said props to Sensei Cobra with Resident Evil in the background. Absolutely. A bit off topic, but can we acknowledge the only good thing about the new Resident Evil movie being that it was too dumb to have any kind of forced political or gender identity message? I mean, there's that, I suppose, yeah. It wasn't woke. It was just shit.
Yeah, but should that be a bar for something being good though? Like, yeah.
I know. I mean, it certainly doesn't count against it, but like, yeah, it was still.
I'll even
still
take
a
something that's
god-awful
woke
movie.
that's good. I don't give a shit on that part as long as it's good, right? Like, I'll argue that a lot of people like a woke movie and they don't even realize it. Furiosa.
You can absolutely. I
Mad
wouldn't
Max
even
Fury
describe that as
Road, you know?
woke. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's
But
fair
it was
and
well done. You know, that's the
yeah.
difference.
It's you could have a movie with all kinds of progressive ideas in it. If it's well written, though, I'm fine with it.
Well, and I don't
Go for it.
mind watching stuff that where I know I'm getting into it with that in mind, right? Like if I'm watching something like Milk, I know I'm going to get something that has a big message in it, or Philadelphia or whatever. I know I'm picking older movies, but like,
Yeah.
you know, they haven't made any real decent ones as far as I'm concerned in the last few years either, because a lot of their efforts are going into trying to destroy franchises instead of actually making these movies. Like when, you know, former Weinstein assistant Leslie Headland announced her Star Wars thing, and she's like, I want a black writer and a black director, and I want to tell it from the black perspective and all this business. I'm like, bitch, I know like 6 black writers right now who have like 12 scripts from the black perspective that they'd love to make, but Hollywood don't give a shit about them because they don't have a superhero in them.
Yep. That's where we're at. Next one. Duncan Mockner said, Cobra Kai continues to kick the competition. Damn right. Here's hoping for a Mike Barnes appearance in season 5. Oh, that's coming.
I have a feeling. Oh, here's the funny thing. I've known Sean for a little while, not personally, but I've talked to him a few times, and pretty decent communication up until now. All of a sudden, I messaged.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago here, and he didn't get back to me. He read the messages, but I'm like, they're shooting season 5.
Because he's. I saw a picture of him and the guy who plays Kreese, Martin Cove.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he still looks pretty good. He's still in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, he's in good shape. Yes.
So yeah, he could absolutely come back.
I have a feeling that he might. Like, his being quiet is very strange.
But it would be great for him as well, because I mean, as far as I know, he's not been up to a huge amount since Karate Kid 3.
No, and he's very proud of it too. Like I have that autograph picture from the movie that says the bad boy of karate on it. Like he has that autograph to me and says, your karate is shit.
Brilliant. But yeah, like how great would it be if they brought him back? You know, just a one-dimensional villain that he played before. They gave him like a great backstory, gave him some good depth and character development. He could have a great time with that.
Well, I think that's who Silver was meaning when he said, I'm going to bring in some reinforcements.
Yeah.
Or whatever at the end there. And
that's what I took it as well.
You know, clearly, like you could have it to where he's, you know, his life probably went to shit after that. I mean, even probably more so than what Johnny's did, right? I mean, and clearly, like these two working together, what more would they want out of their life than to finally accomplish what they set out to do 30 years ago, right? I mean, it makes complete sense to me, even though it's insane, but like...
I did like the scene where Johnny confronts Terry Silver, because the first time he met him, I honestly was expecting Johnny to just go, who the hell are you? Because like obviously they never crossed paths in the original movies. Like Johnny was out of it by that point. Like they didn't quite go down that road, but like they had to have Daniel explain like what his history was and stuff.
Well, they even brought his name up in the first season, and Johnny's like, who? Because he's actually the owner of Cobra Kai, and I'm glad they at least stuck with that, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's canon, you know, that he owns and they even bring it up, you know, like, because he even says it in part 3. He's like, sorry, I can't pay the rent this month, and I'm a little behind and all that business. He's like, you think I bought that place for the rent? I bought it for you. Like that's a line directly out of Karate Kid 3. So yeah.
Right. I love this. Well, this like just unrelated, but just Johnny not understanding things, where Miguel's mom is like, oh, I saw Miguel get into an Uber. Johnny just goes, what's an Uber?
I know. I love how disconnected he is, right? It's almost like it's like the character unplugged in 1984 and then plugged back in 2018 or whatever when the show started. Like, and he didn't exist in all that time period. It's just like, no,
he's never like seen a movie beyond the 1980s. He's never listened to a band from beyond the 80s. You know,
he's just that self-consumed. And you know, and I've heard some people like, oh, that's unbelievable. I'm like, bullshit. I know that guy. I know the guy who has a fucking Camaro, an 86 Camaro sitting in his driveway, still has a fucking 80s style haircut, hasn't changed his wardrobe, still listens to Rat. You know, I know these guys. Like, they exist.
I bet they're happier than us as well. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Fiction Theorizer said, Dave Filoni is a hack when it comes to continuity. George Lucas wasn't much better. Still, Clone Wars 2008 is a generic action cartoon with inconsistent characterization, and I defy anyone to say different. I mean, I can't say any different because I never really watched Clone Wars, so I don't know. I don't know if you ever did, Tom.
Not a lot, but you're not going to get it. Like I'm a George Lucas realist, so and I don't want to go down that path because we'll be here forever. But I've got this love-hate thing with George. I love that he made Star Wars, but I also hate some of the hypocritical things he does. And no, I'll be the first to admit he's not a great director. He's not a great storyteller. He's a visionary. He can come up with, worlds and ideas and, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, Clone Wars didn't suck me in. I went and seen that opening night in the theater, and it was like me and like 2 other people in the theater. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be good. And at the end of that movie, I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? That was for babies. Like, that was the first time after watching Star Wars that I felt like, yeah, this is not for me anymore. Like, I made my way through the prequels, and they were okay. Now, in retrospect, they're much better than they were then because of the sequels. But that's kind of what I got to ask myself. Would I still feel that way if it wasn't for the sequels? So.
No, that's it's a weird one. I do love this one. Johnny's defined by one word: hash brown. Yeah, hash brown Cobra Kai.
How long does it take for a Facebook message to get somewhere? A couple days, week? It's instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that Jeremy wasn't here because I'm pretty sure he's well versed in like the Clone Wars. I think he liked it, but yeah, I don't know what he would say there. Chris Nicholson said, biggest lesson I took from this show, a generation that teaches kids to avoid conflict rather than confront it doesn't set them up for success or confidence. Sometimes the old way is the best way. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's going to be interesting to see what today's generation of kids are like 10, 15 years from now when they actually have to get out into the world and they're running things. Yeah, good fucking luck to you. Leo Film said the main couple needs to learn discipline and keep the training up in the off season. 2 athletes usually have just as many chins. Moon is by the way. Fair enough. MJ1 Media said Cobra Kai never dies. Hey guys, keep being badass. Thank you, we will.
We'll try.
Motalicious, I'll take Hillary Swank if I get Michael Ironside. Oh yeah, because he was the villain in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Stretching Jack Murphy's. I can't say any more there. Question is, when does Jack Murphy join Miyagi-Do? Yeah, we're just waiting for that. Scallywag Nation said, bloody legends collide. Cheers, mates. Here's to many more years of absolutely crushing actual content worth a damn these days. Mad respect. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be able to do this stuff. Night King 01, the ending is foreshadowing when Silver is seen reading The Leviathan, a book about how a functioning governmental body is best ruled by one powerful person. Damn, that's some deep lore right there. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, good catch, man.
I did remember Leviathan, but I didn't know the context of it. 0 Hour Discussions said, hail panel, do you think there'll be a chance for fighters to join Cobra Kai? Guys like Lyoto Machida or Michael Jai White would be a perfect fit. I don't really want to see actual fighters in this show. Like, I think it would just totally like
it's the under 18 anyway, so
yeah,
the all valid.
It was weird enough seeing Carrie Underwood just show up. Like,
I know some people like shat on that, but I'm like, I get the joke. Like, I don't know if Carrie was even in on the joke so much. Like, the whole joke is that this guy was like talking smack that he could get all these celebrities all this time, and he finally does. And who does he get? Some washed up fucking singer.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about how proud she was to be on it. And I'm just sitting here thinking, yeah, you're just glad to be working, aren't you, honey? Like,
honestly, I got the feeling that she was just like, she rocked up to the studio and was just like, yeah, I want to be in Cobra Kai.
I guess they called her.
And they were like, yeah, fuck it, we'll put you in.
According to what I read, I guess they called her. I don't know why, but maybe she was like 3rd or 4th on the list. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, here's a question. You still looking forward to The Walking Dead next month? No, I'm fucking not. I tuned out The Walking Dead about 4 years ago.
That's still on?
Totally. Yeah, that's what everyone's like. Is that show still going? I think this is the final season. But I just totally lost interest in it after the Negan arc. I was just done with it.
There's going to become a point when that title is very poignant. Like the show is just going to be The Walking Dead. Like it's like the show died years ago and it's still going.
It's been on life support for a long time. I think pretty much everyone's tuned out of it now. Captain Caboose said, "Time to go for my 10-hour reset while listening to the calming tones of the drinker and assembled crew. Hammer down, my dudes, and I'll catch you on that side of Channel 19 on the CB." Cheers, mates. Enjoy very much, and I appreciate your donation. The Justice 35 wants I want season 5 to be about Robbie, Miguel, and Johnny connecting and coming to terms with their fathers. Love Cobra Kai's main theme is about fatherhood. Fatherhood and mentorhood, I suppose. But yeah, I would go with that. It shows these guys like Johnny and Daniel, much older now, like trying to be mentors, having successes and failures, and trying to like fit into that role, which I guess is a thing that a lot of people struggle with. So I think the show, but it doesn't portray them as completely useless buffoons who need to be mocked and belittled. Like they're just flawed men doing their best, which I think is pretty admirable.
No, and I know quite a few guys who do mentor a lot of students and younger people in their life, and they do look up to the show. They do like it for that very reason. And I do think they did a great job with Robbie this season and kind of showing, like Johnny, I think is going to kind of vicariously learn how, all these things that he's learned have been wrong. And, through his son now, the sins have passed on into, his son not being able to mentor pain. And I think that's going to be a lot of where Johnny comes to terms with a lot of this. And he's going to have to say, yeah, I was wrong. And now I need to learn the right way, and kind of like how Daniel this season had to learn that all karate isn't just, defense only, even though that's what Miyagi taught him at first, there is more to this. Like you have to be able to strike first sometimes.
Totally.
And I think
it's about that balance of finding a path between those two extremes. You can't always like go full in and go on the attack all the time, but you also can't be passive and defensive. Like you need to know when to do one or the other.
Well, right, and exactly, and be mature enough. And I think that's what last season where Chosen was like, when Daniel's like, whatever, Miyagi taught me everything. And he's like, did he? And he's like, that was kind of signifying that you weren't ready yet, kid. Like Miyagi knew that giving you this information was going to be like handing a loaded gun to a fucking baby, right? Like, especially when Daniel was still a little hothead, so he knew it was going to be something that when he was ready, he would learn it. And evidently Miyagi didn't think he was ready yet through all that time that he was still alive. So, I mean, it's kind of cool to see that there is a lot. And I love that revelation when Daniel realizes, oh shit, there's a lot more I have yet to learn.
I think that's the idea is that like, you never reach the end. You never reach the end goal. Like, it's always
I think that's something that Daniel yet has to learn about karate. That's one of the final lessons, right? And I mean, even though that was one of the first lessons Miyagi gave him, he's like, "What belt are you?" And he's like, "No belt." J.C. Penney, belt only good to hold up pants. It's like that's not what karate's about. And I think that's kind of where he was saying is like this is something that just continues on through the rest of your life, and just like when they were replanting the trees, like someday you'll find your own path and do karate your own way. Like, I think Daniel's just coming to terms with that. And he's realizing, oh, I kind of stunted my growth when it came to karate and didn't continue on like I should have. And that's how I could have, done best by Miyagi. And I'm sure he'll come to terms with all that in this next season.
Yeah. I mean, it's always, it's karate, obviously, and that's what serves as your basis of this show and the movies. But like, it's just a metaphor for life in general. Life is never about like reaching an end point and, thinking like I know everything now.
Right.
I've learned everything there is. It's a constant process of learning and growing and changing. And just as Miyagi said to him, eventually you're going to find your own way. It means that you can take lessons from your elders and your previous generation, but eventually every guy has to like walk his own path and find his own way, and his own way of living his life and carry on learning that way. That's just how it is for everybody, and that's a good message. I think like it's an interesting thing to play with in this show as well. Like eventually your kids are going to move out from under you, and they're going to find their own way too, and they're going to keep learning and developing in, what way seems best to them. And it might not be the one that you would choose for them, but that's not your choice to make. And I think that's, again, a good message.
And that's where Johnny and Daniel are so much alike, is neither one of them grew past that point, right? And that's what this show has been, is like, even though it's been 30 years on, they're just finally starting to grow as men, because they've been stuck in this idea, like they were stuck in the past with the whole original thing that started everything with between the two of them, And then when Elizabeth Shue showed up, that kind of showed them that, well, this was kind of stupid for us to be doing this all this time. But yet there was still more there that needs to be, dealt with. And neither one of them have grown, Johnny specifically, like we just pointed out, he kind of unplugged in 1984 and never plugged back in until now. And it's like Daniel, on the other hand, has just been wrapped up in his little fantasy world of, being the champion for the last 30 plus years, right? Like, he's never really grown beyond that. And both of these men need to, I hate to say it because it sounds so woke, but they need to come into the now in a little bit. And that's kind of what they're doing in their own way, but hopefully it's not at the detriment of the show overall.
Yeah. No, I hope so. Tyler S said, what do you think about Robbie maybe forgiving Johnny at the end? We'll both go after Miguel. P.S. Cobra group origin story, Cobra Kai. Yeah, I mean, I'd like that. I think that Robbie had to make amends with his father at some point. They were going to have to bury that, and it feels like they kind of did there. They understand each other a little bit better now.
I think there's a ways to go, but at least I think that it's starting. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Gerald Armstrong said, I didn't like the Carrie Underwood cameo. Yeah, I think it's going to be contentious. It just came out of fucking nowhere. It just felt so weird. I didn't mind it too much. Mooncake said, thanks for the laughs and awesome videos, Drinker. Have you blokes seen The Gentleman? Also have ordered my Drinker plushie. Thank you. I haven't seen The Gentleman. No, I don't know. Not
heard of it, but haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks very much. I'm glad you've enjoyed my stuff. Big Worm said, Hail Drinker, I've only watched season 1. I have to binge 2 and 3. Also just finished the Drake series. I need more. Other authors with your style, or are you working on anything new? P.S. My mother-in-law loves them too. Nice one. Yeah, I've got a new book coming out in August. It's going to be called Dark Harvest. It's like an action thriller, so it's kind of in the vein of the Ryan Drake series. So I'll tell you more about that when it's like more available, I guess, and it's up for pre-order. Just as a guy says, what do you think about Resident Alien? I think it's a great show on Sci-Fi with Alan Tudyk. Resident Alien, I haven't seen it. I don't know if you've seen it, Tom.
No, but I'm well aware of it. I think it's based on a comic. It's supposed to be pretty decent. I don't know if it's gotten worse at all, but I've heard it's pretty good.
Okay. Hey, Drinker, my girlfriend wanted to watch Rise of Skywalker last night. No! Find a new movie or find a different girlfriend. I'd erased it from my memory. What a joke of a film. Yeah, I'm
That's where you say, can't we just have sex? Like,
yeah, that's a better way to spend your evening. It's not going to last 2.5 hours like the movie.
Exactly,
but, yeah. Douglas Marsh says, great listening to you guys talk about how cool something is rather than, well, that sucked. Yeah, we love it. Like Jeremy was saying earlier, we'd much rather talk about things that we love. It's just they don't come up too often at the moment. Munia Costin Gregor says, hey, Drinker, you brilliant barfly. Do you know the game Disco Elysium? Best writing and characters in any media starring a hardcore amnesia drunken cop. Well, fucking sign me up for that. But yeah, I haven't played Disco Elysium, I'm afraid. Don't know much about it. Boop Beep Boop said, would the Drinker ever do a review of Avatar The Last Airbender, or have you seen it? Cheers. I mean, I've seen the movie, and it made me want to like gouge my eyes out. If that's the one you're referring to. I don't know. I haven't seen the TV series, but I've seen the film, and that was diabolical.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Gohan said, in the next season, bring both Mike and Dutch to work together. Maybe could meet in prison. Julie Pierce could come into it too. I'm so over Kyler too. Yeah, I'd like I say, I'd like to see Mike come in. So I'd be fine with that. Starkiller Obi says, by being in a show that you'd like, by being in a show like that, you'd build yourself a statue. Some of them understand that and they want their statue to look fantastic. Sure. Claudio Rogajan said, when Terry Silver showed up, my dad was like he's wearing San Ferragamo. After some explanation, apparently he's walking around with $15,000 worth of clothes. Wow. I mean, it seems like the kind of thing Terry Silver would do, to be fair.
Yeah.
High Ice 007 said, between the popularity of Karate Kid movies and the popularity of Cobra Kai, I'm surprised the All Valley Under 18 Championship isn't a thing. It needs to be. It needs to be. Ginger Rhino says, hey, Drinker, do you think we'll ever get good new IPs? Star Wars is dead. Why can't they let it rest in peace? It's honestly like necrophilia at this point. Yeah, it's just because it's got brand loyalty. Like, there are people out there who will just watch anything Star Wars, regardless of how shit it is. Kind of like the MCU, actually.
Getting there, yeah.
So as long as people like that exist, they'll keep churning out shit. Walter Stark said, can't get one of your phone cases for my old iPhone 6, so I'll just send you the price directly. Cheers. Aw, thanks, man. A long time ago, you recommended Highland Park Scotch. Found any others that you like? Yeah, I recommend Lafroig. No, sorry, Lagavulin. That's the one. I keep getting those two mixed up. Lagavulin, 16, great whiskey. Talisker is really good. And Jura. Nice sort of smooth, easygoing whiskey is Jura. I like that. So all of those will be fine for you. Darth Goldust Gaming said, do you agree the Sonic movie just recycled the plot for He-Man 87, Fat Albert 2004, and Smurfs 2011? I have no fucking idea.
You're not totally wrong. I think that was part of the charm with Sonic is it felt like a movie from the 90s.
Yeah, it was fun enough. It was pretty simplistic stuff. I like Jim Carrey in it. I like the redesigned Sonic, so I was happy enough.
Yeah.
Alistair McLeod gave me £5, thank you. And Kitchen Troll gave me $20, said Disco Elysium Fund. Cheers. What's the next one? Oh, yeah. Claudio Rogajan. Robert Mark Kamen owns a vineyard winery in the valley in real life, which is why Terry has his wine. Ah, holy shit. Yeah. It's like it all ties together. Discount Charlton Heston. Sorry if you've been asked this, but have you reviewed The Right Stuff? It's a long one, but fantastic in my mind as an Air Force brat pilot wannabe. No, I haven't reviewed The Right Stuff. Yeah, not touched that yet, but I've heard good things about it. Yeah, given up with the MCU. Yeah, can't say I blame you.
I like that icon, though. Holy crap.
What's this one? Oh, yeah. Nice.
Major
probably hide that before I get like copyright or something. Anyway, yeah, we got to the end of the super chats, which is lovely. We made it. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to you, Tom, Sensei Tom, actually, for sticking to the end of this dojo lesson. It's been fantastic having you on, mate. And I appreciate you helping me out with this.
It's always an honor when I get a chance to talk to you. And of course, as you know, we're big fans of you over at Midnight's Edge. So yeah. And as big a fan as I am of Cobra Kai, it's an honor to be able to discuss it with you and such fine gentlemen as Jeremy and getting to meet Stingray and
yeah. But yeah, that was bring together an eclectic group, and it was all good fun, man. And yeah, thank you to my mods for their excellent work as always. Thank you to all you guys who've donated for the super chats and everything. Everybody in chat with your awesome banter and some of the great comments there. They were brilliant.
On fire.
Stuff. Yeah, you were great tonight. But yeah, we're all done. Nice, lean and mean 2.5 hours, which is pretty short by my standards, but. Yeah, we'll catch you for the next one. So that's all we've got for today. So go away.